And we are live. I am Fourzze from Fourzze FX. Joined with me tonight is my boy Max. How's everybody doing tonight? Max, how the heck are you?
Doing good.
Yeah, man. So we're gonna have some folks join in pretty soon. Just waiting on a couple of responses. Star Wars Haven will be joining us, and yeah, dude, I'm so tired. I was up late on Rob the Rogue Jedi's stream last night, and I know he went an additional 6 hours after we were done. So yeah, they were mad late, like late. It was nuts.
I
So
read somewhere that it was like 9 hours that he was like there till.
it was a grand total. So the whole thing, the 3 hours was with the High Council, which was all of us, and then he jumped onto Darth Raven's blades, and did an additional 6. And yeah, dude, they I saw him on Instagram this morning, and bro, he was so spent. He was so done.
I can imagine.
I can't do it, bro. I can't be on the internet for 9 hours unless it's like a major thing going down, like like it's an all font makers stream. Like it's just crazy. So for real, let's see where we're at here. Just checking a couple things. Oh man. One of the things about Instagram that I'm kind of not pleased about is you can't post from your PC. Like
Yeah.
you have to do it from your phone, and like I wish I could just go to a different tab here and get in and be like, "Hey, I'm live now." You know what I mean? But it just don't work. It just don't work that way, which kind of
Just
blows.
it just seems kind of weird that like they wouldn't let you like post photos because I have a ton of photos on my
Yeah.
computer that I could, but then you have to like go through the whole process of uploading them to like your Google Drive or your Dropbox, and then just so you can upload them on your phone. I take a lot of photos on my phone, but if it's like sometimes I take them on my Canon camera, and I'd rather use the photos from that because they just look nicer.
I know. I know, it's crazy, dude. And yeah, well, it's the same thing. Like when I make font demos, like I shoot it all with the camera, and I've got the Saber, and I get it all done, and then when I'm done editing the video, I have to drag the completed video over to my phone via a cable into my computer, and it's like, dude, really? So it's nuts. And we have
Guys,
the
what's up?
legendary Star Wars Haven. How are you, man? Doing all right? Can you hear me? Oh no, did we lose him?
He looks frozen on my end. Does he look frozen on your end?
Yes.
Oh no, wait. He's moving
Okay,
again.
he's
Okay.
moving. We're good. All right,
Can
cool.
you hear me?
Yep, I
can
can
you
hear
hear
you
us?
now.
Okay.
All right. So we can see Liam's in the chat. What's up, Liam? And Jeff. What's up, Jeff? Yeah, dude, we're just on doing this thing. Got to do one last night. Get to do one tonight. We're gonna get some people in the room. Oh, he disconnected. Okay, well he'll be back.
Damn.
No biggie. No, I think we can do a couple trivias tonight and give away some free fonts. Are you guys down for free fonts? Y'all better get on Facebook and Instagram and start telling some people like, "Hey, Fourzze is live. He's giving away free fonts. Y'all better get on." It's not every day I can do this. Okay, I see him in the chat. He says he's going to be right back, so we're good.
Okay.
That's cool. All right, Max, did you get a chance to watch Bad Batch?
No. Are you talking about episode 3 or 4? 3. No. I have not.
Okay, then we won't. No spoilers then. I mean, there's not really too much to spoil because, like, a lot of folks consider it to be, filler, but I don't personally think it was filler. I still think they're setting the groundwork for what we're gonna see. So, all right, we got Liam, we got Jeff. No more free fonts I have to pay. Hey, man, if you keep winning them, you're going to keep receiving them. I'm just saying, you know. Poor Liam's going to have my entire library one of these days for free. He's just going to keep winning. He's going to keep winning all the fonts. Winning. That's what he does. He's winning. He wins fonts. He likes all the fonts, the font work. Oh, I can't. Oh, snap. Max, what have you been working on, dude? You got some new reviews coming out pretty soon?
Yeah, I still need to do a review of your Negotiator Complete Edition, but I'm probably going to backtrack just a little bit just because I just saw a movie that I feel like I have to review because I reviewed the last installment a while ago. It's kind of niche. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but I'm one of those people that's like, I'm a huge fan of this franchise and I have to go see every single one, even if they're bad.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh man, that's cool. Yeah, I've got well, not just Negotiator, but there's the Rom Coda. Now I see, which I get it. It's like it's a Star Wars font. I mean, there's not really much you can do with those characters. It's like, if you're gonna do Rom Coda, you might as well do Plo Koon, or you might as well do like. I mean, just those typical prequels characters, you can't really flesh out that much. It's not like jumping from, ESB Luke into like Kylo Ren, I mean, it's just, it's East and West, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, Liam, no more free fonts. I love your space. Jeff, do you have the full thing, bro? Do you have the, you got the upside on there, because that was emailed out not long ago. So now there's an upside and there's a downside to every Schwartz. So that's there. Oh, okay.
It's not Fast 9, Jeff. It's it just dropped actually this Friday. It's Spiral. I just saw Spiral. The new Chris Rock horror movie. It's a spin-off of one of the Saw movies. It's in the same universe, but it's not really about Jigsaw. It's about this new guy who's trying to be like him, but he's not. I won't give anything away in case anyone goes see it, but all I'm going to say is if you're not like a fan of horror or you're not a fan of like the genre in general, this isn't going to like make you an instant fan of the Saw franchise. You could watch it and not have any knowledge of the outside movies because they do kind of have little Easter eggs to the movies, but even me as like a hardcore fan, there wasn't like too much there that were like, oh, you have to remember this from that movie. It's like Star Wars, it's like if you didn't watch like the originals or the prequels and then you see stuff in the sequels and you're just like, or I'm just using it as an example, but you see something in like the later Star Wars movies and you're like, what the heck is that? What is that? With this new Saw movie, you don't have to know anything that happened in the original 8 movies.
Hey guys.
Welcome back.
Thank you. I don't know what that was with the connection. I've never had that.
Don't worry about it, dude. You're good. Rom Coda is slept on. Yeah, there haven't really been a lot of font makers who did Rom Coda. I actually did 2 of them. I did one back in my Legacy days. It was called But Now I See, which was kind of a play on words from the song Amazing Grace. I once was blind, but now I see. So now I just took it from that and I just named the new one Now I See. But yeah, dude, that's a good one. He's dope. Jeff, haven't downloaded it yet, but I will want to get my card reader. True. That's awesome. Yeah, boy. So yeah, guys, I'm just waiting on a couple more people to accept the link. I know some folks are pretty busy tonight. I'm waiting on Jeremy from Moon Custom. I sent a request out to Brandon, see if he'll jump in. And then I've sent one out to Blue Mamba. And anybody else who hits me up and is like, "Yo, I got to jump in," I might see about getting them in. So you never know who might show up. We're not just kind of shooting the breeze a little bit tonight, giving a couple of fonts away.
Okay. Post something on Instagram.
Oh, you're gonna put it up on Insta? Okay, cool.
I don't know. I wanted to wait till there were a little more people, but I don't know. I guess you could do it.
I hear you.
I just got me a new shirt actually.
Yeah. What? That's slick, dude.
Like
That's a
this
nice
one.
shirt.
It's
For real,
awesome.
bro. Where'd you score that from?
I got it on Amazon actually.
Oh, Amazon.
Yeah.
Where'd you get it?
Sweet
Yo,
deal.
I got an original Repulse shirt.
Oh,
That's OG.
nice. Yeah, with the link on it.
That's the original, dude. And you can see that like I've put it through the works. Like poor Link, he's on his way out, man. I don't even think I can get another one of these.
My shirt's kind of the same way. I don't know what my dryer does, but it ruins like these like
Every-
images.
I know, man.
Becomes
Oh
more
my-
vintage.
We can get a few more people in here, get a few more people into the chat, and then we can do a free font giveaway. Maybe somebody besides Liam will win. Poor
Yeah,
Liam. Oh, snap.
Liam has a lot. Okay. I actually just got back my my Aaron, the Saber-Tooth Aaron that was being repaired.
Show us. Show me. Dang, man, that's crisp and clean. Like I've
Yeah,
not
it's the
seen a
mirrored
nice.
one.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Got the blade plug to match, you know, the little gold, little brass parts there. So the speaker was crackling. I think I might have told you.
Oh,
Oh
So
no!
what they did though,
Give a shout out to Xander, 6 years old, getting
Nice.
in the Star Wars community. What's up, dude?
is in there.
Liam, don't gotta call me out like that. Hey man, I ain't calling you out. I'm just telling the people that you are the big winner. Like you're the winner, bro. Like you actively
grand prize.
participated and you nailed that Old Republic question. Like you knew spot on where it was. That's why. So I'm gonna call out my winners now. And you, sir, are a winner.
I'm the winner.
So they replaced my speaker with a 22 millimeter speaker.
Oh,
So not the 28 that comes with it. And I didn't look at it right away. I just kind of turned it on and I was like, oh, this sounds a little bit different. And so it's like the highs and all these, you know, like especially like a Graflex, right? Font.
Yeah.
Like you really hear it now. Like it's nice, but the bass is much lower, like not as bassy fonts. So
Fonts.
fonts. So like you feel the difference. Any font, like you turn it on, especially something with like a really I'm thinking, I don't know, just
Like
the one
Juggernaut's Wrath?
yeah, like you'll hear like and it doesn't do that. And I have the arc light, so I got to see the difference because I still have the
Okay.
original speaker in here. And I contacted the guy who did it. He was in California. They have an installer
Right.
there. He said, yeah, like just try it out. If you're not happy with it, you know, still in warranty. He's like, I just didn't have any 28 millimeters. So we'll see. I don't know what I think about it yet.
Okay.
Definitely with the crackling, I think it's not going to have, you know, that whole blowout issue. You know, that's what they're doing a lot right now. They're retrofitting these for
Mhm.
a lot of customers because it's a common issue. And
Really?
I don't know, like I'm thinking, all right, so I'll get them to put the 28 in and it'll just start blowing again. Like, you know, what if I just put a nice Bazzy font in there and then what's going to happen? So I don't know.
That's awesome. So Haven, what's so just coming up, what do you got on the list for reviews coming up? You got some, I know I sent you a bunch.
Yeah.
You got some Kyber Daddies and some K Sniffs and some
Yeah.
and
So
you got some Link fonts coming.
yeah, I have a bunch of stuff. I know I have Classic Villain I wanted to do of yours. I have on May 4th, I got the Project Stardust, the Death
Mhm.
Star that
Yeah.
Kyber Daddy did, Kyber Daddy. And I got this one he did a while back, but the Millennium Falcon one, the piece of junk it's called.
yeah.
I don't know why. I just, you know, I know Return of the Jedi is yours, but like Empire is my favorite movie, and just that scene, especially aside from Vader and Luke, but when they're doing the asteroid field, when they're flying through it, and like that music, and you could really replay it with this. I know it's not a lightsaber font, but it's just like I don't know, something about it. Just the way when I saw his demo video, I'm like, I gotta get this thing.
You know,
So-
what's really crazy, dude, is that you could take like these boards, they don't necessarily have to go into sabers. You know, I've heard some really magnificent ideas about putting boards like in model Millennium Falcons and then wiring LEDs to the
Wow.
back of it, and then like you take it like you're playing with it like a toy, and if you move, it's like so.
It's awesome.
I mean, yeah, dude. I mean, and there you have auxiliary buttons, which would be the blasters and whatnot. And say hello to Jeremy from Moon's Custom Library.
No, Jeremy.
Hey guys.
Hey, Jeremy.
What's up, dude? See, now it's a party,
You, other than being trapped at home.
dude. So are you wanting to tell the public what's going on, or are you comfortable talking about it, or like?
I'm fine with it. That's fine.
So what's going on, man?
So my whole family has COVID. We've all tested.
Oh man.
So we are confined to my house till I can think. Some of us have different dates, but depending on what when we tested positive for it. But mostly it's pretty much the end of the month.
So as far as like, I mean, you look to be in good health. I mean, you look good.
I'm still coughing. I've got a little bit of a headache, but other than that, I'm not like, none of the family is in like extreme health problems right now.
Okay, so. Thank God, dude, because I mean, I don't know if you heard it on one of Rob's streams, but one of my friends, Arani, right? Beth, she was introing the videos and everything. She got the Rona, and she got it. What's up with Link? She ended up getting. She caught it, and she ended up getting double pneumonia, both lungs in the hospital, eye infection, everything, and she's okay. And she's home. I mean, I talked to her yesterday. She's home.
Yeah.
But I mean, still recovering. I mean, so folks will get it, and it'll affect some in some ways. And then with her, it just it was just a baseball bat, man. Like seriously. Shout out to Oliver, Xander's twin brother. What's going on, Xander and Oliver? Hello from Fourzze FX on the internet. So yeah, dude, it's just like, having been witness to that, and then of course, folks in my family had it. Like my daughter and we lost all taste and smell, and I had sore legs for a little bit. So I mean,
my daughter lost her taste for a few days.
Yeah,
but she said she had something today, and she was like, "Oh, my taste is coming back." So
yeah.
That's good.
Zero.
Hey, Zero.
Hey, Zero.
So yeah, yeah, dude. I was kind of fearing the worst, but I'm glad to hear that you guys are in still pretty good health.
Yeah, it is what it is. But I mean, I'm stuck at home, which means I have more time to do my install stuff. Like I've been practicing installs. So far I've done one golden harvest, and I'm doing another one. Actually, is right on my desk right here. And then I've got a few proffies that I'm gonna give a go at. So yeah.
Oh, you're entering the realm of proffy, are you?
I saw it. A friend of mine said, "Give it a chance," and I'm gonna give it a go. See how it turns out. So
yeah. Very
my
good.
installs, I try and keep them as clean as possible, so it should be no difference. So.
Well, dude, once you're all good, the plan is still on, man. We're gonna showcase that saber, and I want you to tell everybody what you've been through, how you put it together, the golden harvest, all of it, man. We're just we'll make an evening out of that, and it'll be a lot of fun.
Well, I made my backup saber, so hey.
Hex, yeah, dude. Do you have it on you? Can you show us what you've been working on?
You guys talk for a bit. I'll be right back.
Sure. As a matter of fact, we'll take this opportunity to say hello to Brandon from Repulse Collectibles.
What's up, everybody?
What's cooking, dude?
How's everybody doing this evening?
Tired.
Cool.
I would show off Yoda, but my baby, or Grogu rather, baby Yoda is what I meant to say. But the green screen doesn't really work the best with him because he's green.
For real. Actually,
Oh,
give me
stop that.
Whoops.
give me
You
just one
stop that,
second.
Grogu.
I'll be right with you guys. Give me 1 second.
Anyway,
What's up, man?
All right, Max. I know you. Obviously, the other gentleman. You got to tell me your name again, sir. I'm sorry.
Me?
Yes,
Oh, Mike.
Mike, and you're with Star Wars Haven.
I'm Star Wars Haven, yeah.
Okay, right. It's gonna take me some time to remember everybody. The last stream, what did we have? Like 8 people.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah,
It
no,
was a
good
lot.
to meet you, man.
Are we all gonna get our Grogu's now? Because
All right. I just got the $25 one,
nice.
which is actually not terrible at all. I mean, he's still cute and,
Awesome.
So which one is that one?
This is like that mass produced like $25, $30 one. He's like a beanbag, more or
Oh, okay.
less.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like a more durable plastic, but he's like squishy kind of too. And I think the eyes are like a polycarbonate or something. But anyway, he's still adorable and can still use the Force. So be careful.
Yeah, dude. I had to get my wife something for Mother's Day. If you've been following me over on Rob's channel when he does his stuff, I ended up getting her this bad boy right here.
That's nuts, man.
That's awesome. I saw the video of you unboxing it.
That is awesome.
Oh yeah. I forgot you watched the unboxing. She still has no idea I opened that box before. What? She has no clue? No, she has no clue.
Well, not till now.
Yeah, Jeremy, by the way, best wishes for you and your family, man. I hope y'all start feeling better.
Thanks, Randy.
Yeah.
Well, we will. We're powering through it, but it is what it is. So.
Yeah.
I have this like animatronic one. I'm sorry, man. Jeremy.
Nah, you're good.
We're good.
You said you have an animatronic one?
I have an animatronic. It's from the Disney store. My wife got it like Christmas time for one of our kids because he's into Grogu.
Yeah.
Let me grab it.
Everybody's getting Baby Yoda tonight.
I hope I didn't start anything. I wasn't planning on it.
Nah, it's cool. It's cool. I'm curious after this thing, like how much more expensive are these things gonna get? Like what's the next freaking thing that's gonna come out for this toy?
You want to know something? I'm pretty if we're gonna see it in the next season of The Mandalorian and him being a little more Jedi trained, who knows?
I don't know. I'm really curious what they're gonna do with the Mandalorian.
What?
All right, so yeah, he comes with this little.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. I think you gotta like squeeze him or something. He does something.
Yep. That sounds about right.
Oh, he does like the Force or something. I think he does the Force. I don't know what's happening right now. He walks.
There's been so many iterations of this.
Hey, it's a big seller.
Oh, he's just running around.
Well, he has there's like these wheels.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
That's not accurate.
see, that's the one that I've got, or the one that wifey's got. These are all hers.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a droid.
I just want like a framed, really nice picture. I have no use for a figurine. If I'm going to own a figurine, I mean, I'll be honest. If I'm going to own a figurine or a statue, I really want that one of Obi-Wan after Episode 3 in the desert, where he's got Luke's lightsaber on his belt and his own lightsaber, and he's got the goggles and everything. Like,
yeah,
that right there is my favorite Star Wars statuette figurine. I love that thing. I can't even find it anymore.
Like, pinnacle of here's the opening scene to Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Seriously.
And just
like,
have basically pan down on the twin sons, and then you just see him like walking up with a like whatever, and then his cloak, and you just like the wind blows his cloak aside, and you see the sabers hanging. Ugh. gives me chills.
Have you guys ever seen the movie Castaway by with Tom
Yeah.
Hanks?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of silence in that movie, just on his part. And
Yeah.
you know, I always, after seeing that movie, I always figured if we ever had anything Kenobi, it should be like that. Like it should be him in and his thoughts. Like he's going through the desert, he's looking all rugged, he's not saying a word. He's out there and he's surviving. And then when we go into the memory sequences, you know, they've got Hayden, they've got Rosario Dawson, you know, then they're interacting and they're doing what they got to do in the midst of the Clone War. But all of the, you know, like maybe he comes upon, you know, like a Tusken Raider encampment, and again he's just quiet. He doesn't troll them, nothing. He gets in, he does what he has to do, he gets out. You know, I always figured the Castaway approach for a middle-aged Kenobi would be a really good way to go. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Like flashing back to memories type of thing?
Sort of, yeah.
That'd be
But
interesting.
but as you see an older Ewan McGregor, an older Obi-Wan, he, you know, he would be traversing Tatooine on his own. You know, he's kind of sporting like he, you know, the goggles and everything like he does. It's kind of like like the hero's journey, you know, like the sojourn, kind of what do you call it? His own personal exile, you know, like he's supposed to be watching over Luke, but you know, Owen and Beru, they're raising him. He's still like a toddler, maybe a baby or whatever, but that's Kenobi's opportunity to venture out into the desert, to sort of find himself, to learn from the ghost of Qui-Gon, to, you know, to get his mind right, you know, to have some closure from Satine, to have some closure from Anakin, which honestly, even in episode 4, I mean, there's just not that much closure to it. I mean,
also like to see the sort of thing that became the rift between Uncle Owen and him.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that one comic scene where he's like, "You just need to get the hell out of here. You just need to go, and don't come back."
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, how much more rejection can Ben take? And we still to this day do not have an on-screen canon origin of the name Ben. We don't have it. Like, when does Obi-Wan go from Obi to Ben? Because there was always you know, there was always speculation that what's his name, Dex was the one who came up with it, but that was never confirmed.
Yeah,
I don't know about that. I know that any interaction with Hayden has to be in the form of a flashback, because if they put Vader, you know, interacting with Obi-Wan in this show at all, that's going to break continuity, because in episode 4 he says we meet again at last, indicating that they haven't seen each other since he cut his legs off.
Yeah, that's true.
So that and honestly, you know, yeah, I think it would make sense to make it flashback sequences or whatever, and maybe they use those flashback sequences, or perhaps they show like not a flashback per se, because a flashback means like a memory of Obi-Wan's, but rather like something that happened when, you know, Anakin was Vader, but it was in between, you know, Obi-Wan and, you know, their meeting, right? So maybe the quote unquote flashback is really just like something that happened, you know, in the in between that we haven't seen on screen yet, live action. Maybe something.
I have a feeling
the way Rebels does it.
I have a feeling that because, you know, we got a lot of focus on the Inquisitors during this time, that I have a feeling it's going to be something similar to he sends out an Inquisitor to find him, but strictly tells him, do not engage.
Yeah.
I want to deal with this one myself type of thing. I think that's where we're going to get a lot of the Vader part, is basically him ordering the Inquisitors out to finding the Jedi and sending one specific one to find Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Wouldn't that break continuity also, though? Because let's assume that Vader sends his Inquisitors, and they're like, "Yo, we found this guy on Tatooine," and Obi-Wan, and then it wouldn't be a surprise when Vader meets him in A New Hope, right? He would have known he was there the whole time and tried to kill him.
That's the thing is the Inquisitor does engage.
Maybe he dies, yeah.
He dies, and basically no word gets back to him except for the Inquisitor died on that planet.
That would be also another opportunity. Like, let's say we have the Obi-Wan show, and it's the Obi-Wan show, but somewhere in one of these, past sequences or Inquisitor, if that's what happens, they use that as a setup for a potential Vader show where he's training Inquisitors and stuff. That would be sick. And there were rumors that they're working on a Vader show. Who knows if or when they'll do it. I know that's always one of those back pocket things for Disney because it's guaranteed to make money. So, especially if Hayden Christensen's attached.
Plus subscriptions keep going.
Dude, if they had a Vader show, are you kidding me, man? Like, money's all the Imperial credits belong to you.
The amount of okay. Here's another one for you. Like a lot of stuff during that time, you've got it's Obi-Wan basically. I don't think they're gonna stick with him trapped on Tatooine. Honestly, I don't.
What would he do? What would be fun to watch?
I don't. That's the thing is I don't know.
That's a good point.
A lot of story and a lot of things going on during that time period.
Ahsoka.
You've got Ahsoka.
Ahsoka would be a big one.
You've got Kanan Jarrus. You've got Darth Maul. Well, Darth Maul's area to it, but you can have the whole him feeling the Darth Maul in the Force type of thing.
Hey, you got Cal Kestis.
Cal Kestis.
My boy Cal. What a great tie-in it would be for the second game, too, if there was a little piece in there that just flowed into the Obi-Wan show. The timing could work.
Well, here's the thing: is remember, like the end of Fallen Order. Fallen Order, he destroys the holocron.
Yeah, but that could be a separate something to do with his own personal mission.
Well, that's the thing is he felt maybe he's feeling a presence on that planet, drawing him to Luke, and Obi-Wan shoos him away type of thing.
Yeah.
Or maybe he was trying to answer Grogu's phone call and was like, well, what do I do? Like,
shoot, Grogu, that's all you had to say?
Yeah. And another one that I hope they do. I see a lot of back and forth about, don't bring Mace back, but then a lot of people are like, bring him back. I'm like, I'm in the camp of bring him back. Definitely, I want to see that. Like, there's no reason he can't if they brought back Palpatine and Maul and everybody else.
I've always been under the circumstances. If you don't see the body, they ain't dead.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Except with Maul's case, right?
Well,
he was chopped in half, and they were like, "Nah, he's good."
But that's the thing is, they bring him back in the Clone Wars, and it wasn't until the end of Rebels or whatever that you actually get to see the body of him dying.
Yeah, that's
right.
That's actually a fair point. Yeah.
So courtesy of Max. Thank you, Max. This is what I'm talking about.
Ooh.
Oh,
that's a good one.
Yeah,
like
that's the statue. That's the statue I want. That's the Kenobi that I would like to see traversing Tatooine and just on his own private little sojourn. This is it.
Does somebody have the stream unmuted by chance? Because I'm hearing a lot of feedback.
It's not me. My phone's not even on.
Yeah, I'm wearing headphones.
I'm on my phone, but I'm in the stream.
It might be that picking up background noise, but never mind. Keep going. Move along.
Move along.
We don't need to see his identification.
Hey, look, Obi's
He's
gonna
on
rock.
the door you're looking for.
Let me throw something else at you guys. So we've been talking about the possibility of a Vader show, but what if Vader's story is told through all the other shows? Like we see a little bit of Vader in Bad Batch. We see a little bit of what Vader's up to, in Kenobi. In each and every show, we get snippets of that period of time and we see what he's up to. But he doesn't get his own show. Like it's up to the viewer to piece all of the puzzle together, almost like a Rogue One sort of thing,
I was going to say,
You know,
it's kind of like
Probably
what they're
coming out with
doing.
Andor.
Yeah, they're kind of doing that with Andor there.
Well, also they did it with Rogue One and Rebels, and they gave us his story in like snippets. So they basically be doing what they've been doing before, but we'd be getting to see more of him. And honestly, more of him I just want to see. So
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is you saw like a lot of we got used to the old man Vader with he's well into his ages and stuff like that. Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, A New Hope. I consider those like the old man Vader type of stories. But yeah, like Rogue One was like that was even though that leads right into episode 4, that's like okay, this guy's imposing in episode 4, but now after Rogue One, it's like this is what he does. It's like here's a room full of people, and I'm just gonna.
Yeah. He's still doing the flippy dippies.
Yeah. No, I think if they do a Vader show, I would love it to start off like right after he becomes Vader and has to build a new lightsaber, because in the comic, like if they followed the comic route, dude, and he like confronts Kirak Infala, and that's the saber, in the comic, that's the saber he gets. He steals it from this Jedi after a very incredible confrontation. And he doesn't keep that hilt very long. Something happens to it, and then he builds his DV6, right? His actual saber. And but the story and the funny thing is if we're talking about the Inquisitor stuff, the comic, if they follow the route of the comic, that leads right into it, because in the comic, right after that initial like getting his first lightsaber, he meets the Grand Inquisitor, and there's some exchange there, and then you end up seeing the Ninth Sister and stuff, and like so they could easily play off of that or even follow the material. If I had like the ultimate like what do you call it? My grand vision, like if my dreams were gonna come true, like I would have them follow the comic to the point of where he gets his first saber from Kirak Infala, and then he, meets the Grand Inquisitor, and then I would have it branch off where he starts to create this clan of Inquisitors, and then introduces Galen Merrick. That would be like the ultimate fever dream for me, man. Like I want to get Sam Witwer as Starkiller, dude. Like I have to have this, even if they kill him off. Or maybe they don't kill him off. Maybe they give him his own show and give him 3 or 4 seasons and then kill him off. Even if like at the end of however long they want to use him, they kill him off. I'm okay with that because of the way the games went and how OP he is. I just want Sam Witwer as Starkiller. If that happens, all was right with the world, and I can die a happy man.
Just don't make him as powerful and over the top as he was.
Sure. Like, now that's interesting. I do agree with that, but kind of they have to do it a little bit, right? Now, if you think about it, it's funny because when it comes when it comes to being OP in Star Wars, you never really see it in the movies, with maybe 1 or 2 exceptions, right? The movies are so PG-13 on force powers. They really are. If you read the books or the comics, it's like the Vader hallway scene, but cranked up to 11 in the comics and the games and stuff, right? Especially Force Unleashed. And I'm like, golly, dude, if they ever bring Revan to the screen or Starkiller or any of these, they have to crank it up. I mean, you can still do that without being just making Palpatine look like a joke. You can still do that, you know.
Yeah, but we're talking about pulling a Star Destroyer out of space and crashing it to
Sure,
a
you
planet.
can omit that. You're right. Like you didn't see
Still awesome,
Palpatine
though.
doing that. He probably could have.
Well, I mean, okay, Rise of Skywalker, and he was when he
And
just took out.
that's one of those exceptions I talked about, right? Like that's literally one. That's probably the most OP, like on screen force power usage we've ever seen, which I very much enjoyed. Out of all the sequel trilogy, that is one little nugget that I'll pluck out and say was damn amazing. Was, ultimate smoker voice Palpatine.
You got to do it now.
Return of the Sith. Boom. And I'm just like, oh my! I'm in the theater like, oh my god, like this is great. Like,
even Return of the Jedi, you never really saw him. He was this old emperor type guy.
Yeah.
He was a threat and held Vader's leash, but you never actually saw how powerful is this guy that he's got Vader on a leash. And then that.
About that, we have to. This is one of those times. Like, I agree with what you're saying. I just think that we also have to keep in mind when these movies were made.
Mm-hmm.
The people that saw that stuff for the first time, and he shot lightning out of his freaking hands, they were just like, they were like, "What? He's got lightning? Like, I've never seen this. Like, nobody's ever seen anything like that. The way they did it, So that's kind of like our modern era. Like when we see him in episode 9, just boom, that's how, like, that shock value was the same for, episode 6, Palpatine busting lightning out for the first time. Like the audience just lost. I mean, it's like when Darth Maul ignites that second blade, everyone's just like, what?
I know.
But it was a different time, right? Like, if we had showed the kind of special effects back in the 70s to people, like, they just wouldn't be able to handle it, dude. Like, they just, so I think, collectively we look at it now where it's like, oh, well, he just shot some lightning, big deal. But like, back then when they, that was the first time they'd ever showed it.
Also, I find subtlety is a lot more. It's more menacing if people don't know how powerful you are too.
Oh yeah.
If you got someone like Vader, I know how powerful this man is, and nobody else sees it. It's just going by the word of mouth of this guy who's already imposing as it is, and this guy's like, "Ooh, the Emperor is powerful," type of thing. Yeah.
What I love about the Emperor is like you talk about that shock value, like the whole movie of episode 9, we're like, dude, they brought back Palpatine. Okay, he's going to be like God tier, right?
Yeah.
And you just kind of in the back of your mind, you're like waiting for it. You're expecting it. And then, he does the Sith drain and you're like that blew my mind. I was like, they actually put that on screen. I was actually really surprised by that. And I'm like thinking, wow, this dude just sucked up both of them like they were nothing, holy crap. And then, he does the boom, and I'm like, they actually, and then it all got ruined with shooting himself in the face with lightning. I'm like, why did they do that? They ruined it. I'm like, you had it. You had me. And I thought it was amazing. And then of all the things you could have done, you did that. I mean, and I laughed. I actually laughed out loud. I'm like, they're really doing this. Man, they're gonna make like he didn't learn his freaking lesson.
Yeah.
It's like,
oh, lightning hurts.
Yeah, it's like, golly, come on, man. You guys, you had it, and you blew it.
And he's gone.
Yeah.
Although
gone.
I did like the one. Was it a YouTube video where someone edited a whole bunch of ghost Jedis into?
Yeah, they edited it, which was great. I saw that.
I thought that was way better.
Yeah, missed opportunity, man.
There's so many missed opportunities I found, but
Oh, well, you know, they had so many reshoots, and Rey's background literally jumped each movie. It was supposed to be Kenobi, and this was literally confirmed by Daisy Ridley in an interview. She straight up said this. She's like, I was going to be a Kenobi, and then they're like, wait, no, now you're going to be no one. And then it's like, wait, well, now you're going to be a Palpatine because we're bringing back Ian McDermott.
Yeah.
And she literally said this on camera and admitted it. And I was like, see, and the whole fan base is like, I knew it, you know, like, because it was so obvious.
Well, here's
Hey.
the thing. You have a big trilogy like that. You're announcing a huge trilogy. As far as I'm concerned, if you're announcing a full trilogy, you should have like your plot points for all 3 movies set in stone, and it doesn't matter what the director is. They can have some creative freedoms. Like it's like Marvel. You've got
a singular vision.
There's their own style.
Yeah.
But here's the plot points you have to hit.
Yep.
And you must hit these because it coincides with this grand scheme of things.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. If Disney ever does the Old Republic or some version of that, or where they have characters like Satele or Revan, trust me, I want to see. Look, dude, don't even get me started on the books. I'm on book number 8 of 9 in the Legacy of the Force series. Just it's such a waste that they threw the legends out the window. But anyway, yeah, Satele Shan and Revan, Revan's backstory, obviously, they could put him in a lot of places because the Emperor put him in stasis for 300 years. So he could pop in a bunch of places, right? But, you know, whether it's like, I would love to see Satele Malgus in live action. I would love to see Revan Bastila live action. Bastila, man, like if Disney ever does any of those, but here's the thing, like Jeremy said, if they ever do this stuff, they have to follow a singular narrative. Even if they do a bunch of stuff along the way, they have to stick to their guns the whole way, whether it's a 6-season series on TV or it's a freaking trilogy. I don't care what it is. Stop changing stuff along the way and just making it up. Like it's your audience can tell, and it's garbage.
Stop focus grouping it all. I think
Yeah.
We're letting Kathleen Kennedy run anything.
Seriously. So hey, let me stop us right here. So Cole is he knows me and he knows Brandon, but let's take a quick minute, and we'll have Max and Haven and Jeremy. You guys kind of introduce yourself to Cole and everybody.
Grogu, and he says hi.
Let's Max, let's start with you. Just kind of tell everybody who you are, what you do, how you contribute to the Saber community, and just give us like your Star Wars moment. So go ahead.
So my name is Max. I do Saber font reviews for both Fourzze and Link, and I've also do font reviews. I just did one for K-Sith, and I'll be doing more for Kyberphonic, Juan Sith, a bunch of the different font makers, because I'm a huge sound guy. I love sound design. Bless you.
I'm sorry.
I just love the sound design of Star Wars and lightsabers, and I really appreciate the craft. And I even made a couple of my own fonts back in the day that I hope to get updated at some point. And Star Wars moments. Besides the memes,
For real.
No, that's pretty much it. It's just memes.
Well, maybe for the prequels, but Star Wars. There's a bunch of good moments in Star Wars, honestly.
So give him one of your all-time favorites.
You can't just pick one. That's not fair.
Yeah, but we have to move on to the other two people.
This is outrageous. It's unfair.
It's unfair.
It's unfair.
Take a seat, young mofo.
Yeah.
I didn't get to bring this up last time, but you guys were talking about that scene in Return of the Jedi that a lot of people sort of glance over. I know even Sam Witwer did a video on this. If you look it up, look up a video called "Sam Witwer Defends Return of the Jedi" as being brilliant. It's a great video. He goes into depth on why Return of the Jedi is a solid entry into the original trilogy, unlike the fans who are just like, it's the weakest. And don't get me wrong, Empire Strikes Back is still my favorite of the trilogy, but I love Return of the Jedi. It's in my top 3. And the scene, you guys talked about it, it's that scene, the final duel scene when Luke almost turns to the dark side. And I just love that moment because after he struck down Vader, he's realized, oh my God, this is exactly what the Emperor wanted me to do, And rather than giving in to what my dad did back when, in episode 3, rather than giving in to this evil with these false promises, I'm going to stand my ground, toss my weapon aside and say, no, I refuse to become the monster that you made my father, because we are Jedi, not me, me and my father. And I refuse to back down. And the Emperor's like,
cool, man.
Okay, then he electrocutes him.
No, that is great. And what's so funny about that? The one thing that pops in my head is like, I bet if Luke knew he could shoot lightning, he wouldn't have tossed that saber. But
you guys are deflecting Force lightning?
He didn't know. Yeah. I saw that meme.
Like, dude.
Yeah, Luke's like on the ground getting scorched, and he's like, "You guys are deflecting." No, that's if you have that one, you need to send it to us. I thought I saved it, but I know exactly.
I was gonna say, send it to me. I'll put it up on the screen.
So freaking hilarious,
Haven.
dude.
Haven, who are you? What do you do? How do you contribute to Saberland? And what is your Star Wars moment?
All right. So I also do Saberfont reviews. I have a little bit of Star Wars content on my YouTube channel, Star Wars Haven. On Instagram, mostly reviewing fonts with K-Sith, Kyberphonic, Fourzze, whoever. Usually use my Saber Trio sabers to do that, and got a couple others too. But love it and love Star Wars. I have 2 boys, 2 young little toddler boys, and I just love sharing that with them and all the
That's
movies
awesome,
and
man.
that just
That's
gets
great.
me to relive it. Like I love it. And Star Wars moment. I don't know. Empire is my fave, but I don't know. I always think back to that moment when he's on Dagobah, he's learning from Yoda. Not like a pivotal moment. There are a lot more moments in all the movies, but when he's learning from him and he's upside down and he's meditating and he has that vision of the Cloud City, of his friends, and now he has to make a choice. Do I stay here? Do I do the right thing? Well, so that's what everyone tells him. Or do I, and learn? Or do I rush? Do I rush on and save my friends? Well, obviously he already made the decision, but it's like, like the humbleness of him, where he's like, I'll come back. I'm gonna learn, but I have to do this. This is my life. These are my friends. I'm learning this, but my family is what comes first, and that's kind of like always stuck with me. Like in real life too.
That's great, man.
Yeah,
that's really great.
So anyway.
Seriously, absolutely. Really quick, boom.
Yeah, wait, explain. I can. You can deflect Force lightning with your bare hands. You use lightsabers. I need to. Luke. You guys are That's literally like the funniest thing, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrible.
Oh, man,
Jeremy.
He's getting scorched.
Jeremy, obviously, you're a major contributor to the Saber community. You have been for quite some time. Who are you? What do you do? How do you contribute? And what is your Star Wars moment?
My name is Jeremy. I run Moon's Custom Armory. I build lightsabers. I build displays. I build pretty much whatever my mind kind of fancies, really. It's whatever's on my mind at the time. But here's one. This is actually just the one that I modded. It's an Electrum Sabercrafts Neophyte. But I have, instead of taking the switch part, I put a crystal chamber in there. And
what board do you have in there?
This is got a Golden Harvest version 3. It's actually a 4 board. So,
very nice. That's a good looking hilt, man. Wow.
Dude, Electrum Sabercrafts. Man, dude, their hilts are incredible.
Do they still sell that model?
Yeah, this model's still for sale. Like, they still have it.
But it doesn't have the chamber cut out, I'm assuming.
No, basically where the chamber is actually where the switch plate would normally go.
Oh, right. Yeah, they have that touch plate. That's kind of their thing.
I have an modified EvoFlex switch.
I like their EvoFlex a lot, but what you did to that right there looks great.
Yeah, I just put it on top with 2 tactile switches. So that little switch plate that these are in would actually go right here.
Cool.
So
Yeah, Cole, and I didn't want to bring it up in the stream, but I have noticed that there are people who love the designs. They're not too big fans of the boards, but I will say this, and I do remember this. I do remember them doing a live stream video some time ago, and they said that their boards will play smooth swing fonts, so you wouldn't have to go in and replace the board. I mean, it would already recognize current smooth swing fonts. So, I mean, that's a big step. That's a good thing, especially if you're not really familiar with the D board, the
D3?
The diadium board. If you just like the smooth swing fonts the way that Link and I, for example, just create them, like if they run Profi fonts, we make Profi fonts. So I mean, for those who don't want to go to the trouble of paying an installer to swap the board out, it's certain. I'm happy that they obliged the community to give us that option, and that's again just another thing that makes them an outstanding company, and very impressive.
Right?
Say it again.
They're very affordable sabers too, for something that would be NeoPixel and have the smooth swing sound fonts and stuff like that. Like they are, I think, their most expensive saber. Like if you're getting it without you can get them without a blade for like, I think every one of theirs is under $400.
They're very affordable. They're very, very affordable. Personally, and I say this in regards to Vader's Vault as well. My personal wish is that they would offer empties. I wish they would offer empties.
Yep, that'd be great.
Electrum has. They don't. It's not a Clone Wars Obi hilt, but it's very, very similar. It's really decked out, and I would love to get that thing empty. It's the same thing with the Revan Chist from Vader's Vault. Now Corbanth sells the Revan Chist saber. I believe it's the same size. It's a smaller saber, but the switches are different, so you can get that empty.
89, I think it's Corbanth's is 89 sabers, I believe.
Is it 89?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Which and they're great. They're really cool, and they're if you notice with 89, most of their stuff is a more slimmer. I don't want to call it small, but definitely a difference in size in comparison to Hasbro or sabers or whoever.
Talking about the Leia thing, that like the Leia saber that they were showing off this last week or so.
Mm-hmm.
I know the 89 Leia. I know the 89 Leia is different from the LGT Leia, and I prefer the look of the 89 because the LGT has a darker color rose gold going on that I've seen a lot of people talk about. I mean, and I think dimensionally they're a little different too, but the 89 Leia is really nice. That's the same one that KR uses, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Oh, I thought it was a different model for KR.
I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that.
KR's is different.
It is?
Yeah.
KR's
manufacturer.
I believe 89 and LGT, they open at the switch, like this type of thing. You can open with the grip, where I believe KR's is strictly just pommel.
Oh, okay. Well, I know I've seen KR's. I guess I didn't notice the visual difference between KR's and 89, but they're both really nice, and they have a more accurate color, in my opinion.
So
that's not to say anything bad about LGT. Like, they got some pretty cool models, and they're super affordable. And LGT is sold at many places: Dark Wolf, Fire Sabers, a bunch of other ones.
Yeah.
So
really
Cole's Cole
There's
says
really
here
good
that the
arguments
vault
for
is doing Profi.
Interesting. That's a new change.
It is, yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
they are.
It's
I'll
very
be honest.
interesting.
I'll be honest, guys. I would not purchase a pre-installed Profi Saber. I wouldn't. I would actually buy an empty Saber. This is just me, and I'm not knocking anybody. I would still be more comfortable just because of how finicky Profi is. I would still buy an empty and find an installer who knows Profi like the back of their hand to install it and set it up. It's somebody who's been working with Profi forever, like Megtooth. Megtooth has been working with Teensy and Profi since go. And he is an individual that I would trust to put and set up a Profi in my Saber, as long as, because I'd be able to go over with him exactly how I want it. Yeah, but again, I'm spoiled because I'm all about custom stuff. Like the last time I bought a pre-installed Saber was my very first Saber Forge Saber 5 years ago.
I don't think
Ever
I've
since
ever
then.
bought a pre-installed. I think everything I've ever owned, which is very little, mind you, has been a custom. I had a Solos Hold promo Star Killer when he first came out with them, like in 2014. I had before that, I commissioned him and I sold it real quick after that because of money problems or whatever. We all been there. And then before that, I had something called the Apparition, which resold recently on the internet. It was like this Saber Forged Jade Fire Ismara Jade hilt that was heavily modified and customized.
Yeah.
And then I think after that, man, I've got this KR flagship that's customized. I had this Korbanth Fallen, but I got it as an empty, and I had a Golden Harvest installed in it. And geez, man, and then I had actually, you know what? I'm going to take that back. There's one time I've had a pre-installed Saber, and that was a Vader's Vault Battle Rap Havoc in 2014. And I had it for about 6 months, and I sold it. And that's probably the only one. I think everything else I've had has been custom.
So I believe it is free font time.
Mhm.
I believe it is free font time.
I didn't know I was giving out a free font.
You're totally not. I am. So who do we got? Who do we got in the room? That's your decision, dude. Okay.
He's like, it ain't my problem. Don't put me on the spot.
Let's see. Jeff had to leave, but we got Cole. We got Liam. So Zero, if you're still here, hey, look. People, I put it on Instagram. Haven put it on Instagram.
Yeah.
We're live. If you're not here, you're not winning a free font. So, all right. So here's the question. All right, and you guys, I'm not going to put a time limit on it. Whoever gets it, okay. Cheetos Born's here. All right. So here's the trivia. All right.
Okay.
Name, and you have to name them correctly. Okay. You can't no half-assed names. Name 4 existing Return of the Jedi fonts. Doesn't matter who the font maker is. Name 4 existing Return of the Jedi fonts. And no, it cannot be version 1 and version 2. No, you name 4 existing Return of the Jedi fonts. Go. First one to get name 4 and name them correctly will win a free font from me.
Yeah. And
go. And Liam tells the truth. He is the king of free fonts. At least for me. I'm about to just email him the rest of my library and be like, here you go, bro.
I'm tapped out.
Yeah, love Force.
Yeah.
I'm tapped out. Seriously.
Tapped out, bro.
Oh my gosh. So see, everybody's running to Saber Font. They're running to Repulse. They're running to Kyberphonic right now. They're like, I gotta get these names.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude. Oh man.
My camera's out of focus a little bit.
So Brandon, how is your project coming along?
Oh, I don't. There's progress. Sorry, I don't know why my camera's being weird. There we go. All of my projects are progressing nicely. I don't know, but I will finish what you started.
By the grace of your training, I will not be seduced. I'll show you the dark side.
Right.
You know why the Emperor's always wanted you dead. I'll come tell you.
So progress.
Nice.
Progress. That's not finished yet, but it will be.
Cole, you wound me. You wound me to my soul.
Uh-oh.
I can demonstrate one right now.
Seriously, like
I have like 3 or 4 on mine.
Yeah.
he freaking like that one. That right there, that freaking hurts, bro. Hang on one second. Liam remains the king.
No hope now.
Okay.
All right, Liam, you win.
Hey, what was the question was about existing Return of the Jedi fonts?
You have to name 4 existing Return of the Jedi fonts.
And it was Kasith, Jesse, Fourzze, and Fourzze. Right. Someone's playing it.
No, just because before we were talking about it, Alexi.
Oh, yeah. You guys are deflecting Force Lightning?
Wait, you guys can deflect it?
That's not.
I wish
That's
you
Corvus Bounty. Sorry. That's Corvus Bounty.
Anakin can say the point.
Hello, Whisper.
I am a Jedi. I'll never turn to the dark side.
Oh, I don't have it set up, maybe. Ah, there we go.
That's the other one.
Yep.
So that's awesome, dude. So y'all say hello to Whisper, and Whisper has a question.
What's up, Whisper?
And actually, Max, because Max, you're very detailed and very, very, very heavy into the lore. I want you to take this one.
You know,
There's not a definitive answer to
I
that
can't
question.
really, because for me personally, and this is just my opinion, if you like the sequels, like them. I have no problem if you liking them. You know, you do what you want, like what you like, hate what you hate. For me personally, that's a hard question, because at the moment, if you keep the sequels in, I almost feel like 1 through 6 don't matter with 9 in the equation, because then it's like, oh, he's back in a clone body. He's just back, so I guess the Sith aren't really dead. Where it's like in 6, there was like this huge moment of like, you know, even though he had gone through so much, he lost, you know, Anakin lost so much, even at the end, love failed, and it was the love for his son that ended up saving him. And that it's this huge moment where, you know, the greatest evil in the galaxy finally falls to his own right-hand man. And it's such this powerful and beautiful moment that I just feel has kind of been tarnished now because of episode 9. I just feel like that mystique or the power of that scene sort of, it's kind of, that's just me. I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, but you know, that's just the way I see it. And if you like episode 9, more power to you. But I was one of those people that even in the expanded universe and Legends, I didn't like the whole Palpatine clone thing. So when they announced it for episode 9, I had one of those moments where it's like, if I didn't like it then, what makes you think I'm going to like it now?
Haven, what do you think?
Sorry. Yeah, I think that, like, I don't know, the whole thing, yeah, like, I feel like he brought balance, but then, like, the whole thing that, like, when he came back, like, a lot of people were saying, like, you know, when the voices came on, when Rey was, you know, getting up and stuff, and then bring back to the Force, when Anakin came on, bring balance to the Force, like I did. And it's like, but did you? And then it's like, but he, you know, we saw him do it. And then it's like, Yeah, and when he came back, it's like, you know, I don't know. Then I hear other theories of like the true balance is not really just like getting rid of the Sith. Like what happened is there wasn't a balance until I don't believe in this, but I think like there's theories out there until the Jedi were all killed. I've heard people say that. So when they were all killed, you know, like that's when kind of like, you know, there was finally now a balance, you know, but it's not a true balance. So there's different points of view, like from a certain point of view.
Certain point of view.
Yeah, I don't know. I still believe that like he brought it back. Like I mean, I grew up with those movies, the original trilogy, but then, you know, I'm with it. Like I watched the sequels. You know, I'm just kind of like, I don't know, it's a hard question. You know, it's kind of like.
I just looked at once. There was a few things I saw with it. Was a lot of Jedis looked at it as once you went to the dark side, that's it, right? That's how I thought a lot of the Jedis, especially in the prequel trilogy, felt. It's like you went to the dark side, that was it. You're gone to the dark side. There's no coming back. And you got Luke and like you got Obi-Wan and Yoda telling him that his father's dead, you got to destroy him, that sort of thing. And they were both wrong. So I thought the balance was basically Vader proving that you could go to the dark side and come back. There was no it's like, yeah, it's two sides of a coin, but you can always flip it differently depending on your environment and who's with you and strangely enough, the emotional attachment that brought him back.
Yeah.
Which a lot of Jedi did not have, was how the whole attachment stuff was all forbidden, and yeah, that was how I felt it
So
played out.
Cole says he's fine with Palps just being a whack-a-mole for future movies, just here for the droid. What?
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Whisper, when it comes to Palpatine, did Dooku and Grievous know his plans in the beginning of episode 3? You know, okay, so I have always been a believer that Dooku was privy to some of the plan,
I
but
don't think he
not
was
all
privy
of
to
it.
all of it. No.
Not all of it, but definitely some of it. Like, I think Dooku knew takeover was imminent, and as soon as he says, kill him now.
Mhm.
It's that was kind of the oh crap moment. Like, I thought I was going to be with you to the
Like, I
end.
got played.
No.
Well, he knew about the Death Star plans, obviously, but that was like future stuff. That's not the big I'm gonna wipe out the Jedi plot. I don't think Dooku knew about that.
No, I don't think he did either.
He might have helped organize the clone creation or whatever, but he didn't realize Order 66 and what it was. I don't think so.
Yeah,
and
even,
Grievous, Grievous
is nothing. He's a pawn.
Grievous
Yeah,
was
he
a
knew nothing.
scapegoat, honestly.
Grievous ain't nothing. He was a cool character to have on screen, and he's very quotable and very fun to. There's a very fun Star Wars character, but in the grand scheme of the plot, he was insignificant.
Yeah. Basically,
total throwaway.
He was just basically the control that Palpatine had over the both sides of the war. That was just his.
Yeah, you need delegation, right? Like Palpatine needed his apprentices, Maul and then Dooku, but then they have to have their chain of commands under them to do all the bidding. It's a Palpatine is the CEO that you never see, right? Like
CEO.
If we're talking military, he's like the Grand Admiral that or the Emperor, I guess, if we want to go that route. But like I'm prior military, so like when I'm like a peon nobody, E2, E3, brand new, and then the freaking Admiral comes in, everybody's on eggshells, like. Constantly. That's That's what Palpatine is, right? Grievous was like, you know, he's like a first sergeant or something. He's like, you know, he's a somebody, but in the grand scheme of things, you know, he's get out of here, you know, like expendable asset.
Yeah.
So was Dooku.
Also, you know, like we saw in Clone Wars season 7 when he was like, you know, I knew he was planning something, remember? And then he's like, but wow, like what a genius, you know? They didn't even quite know all the minute details of the plan, but he knew like he was planning something against the Jedi. But like Sidious, I feel like Sidious just took something and just gave it, you know, a little bit to Dooku, a little bit. Like he didn't want everybody knowing the whole thing. And yeah.
This is what I love so much about Clone Wars season 7 is when Ahsoka is confronting Maul, and then the moment when Maul realizes what Order 66 really is, like to me that was just like, mwah. He's like, I was not privy to my master's plan, but now, ooh, you know, he's just like. He's like, gee, I mean, he is just so beside himself, excited. Like, wow, you know, like Maul has so much respect for Palpatine, man. It's incredible. And that Sam Witwer's portrayal of that and just the whole season, dude, I'm like, this is like, how can this be this good? Like season 7 was a freaking masterpiece, dude. Well, the last 4 episodes, right? The rest was good, but the last 4 episodes was the true story of what they were trying to tell.
And then
Ahsoka's fight with Maul,
oh yeah,
is right up there with best saber fights in the entire series.
God bless them motion capture.
Yeah, the mocap with Ray Park, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's just great, you know, and the cinematography in season 7 is far superior to that of any other Clone Wars season. You know, when you see cinematography like that in animation, it's really rare. I mean, normally you see it in anime. Oh, look at Max busting out the big guns.
I actually met him at a convention.
Why is that not in a frame?
Yeah,
I still need to get one.
I met Peter Mayhew.
Oh, really?
Oh, man, you're lucky.
That's cool. Wow.
I met David Prowse.
I worked his table, actually.
You met David Prowse? Wow, look at you.
I met David Prowse.
Dang.
You two are lucky because, you know what's sad is
rest in peace.
Jeremy Bullock, the last convention he attended was my convention in Arizona. That was the last convention appearance he ever did. And I saw him like from a distance when I was waiting in line for Ray Park, and I was like, you know, maybe I could meet him, but I didn't really have a lot of money by the last day. And then, lo and behold, he unfortunately
was that the gentleman that did the suit for Boba?
Yes,
right. That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure. Yeah.
But it's like one of those things where it's like I saw him and I could have met him, but now I'm never going to get the chance again.
Yeah, it's tough, man. You know, when you even for future generations that are going to be watching these movies, it's going to be like, man, you know, they're just not around anymore. I mean, you know, Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford are kind of like the last standing, man. And it's
they got a couple decades left. The one I'm super worried about is James Earl Jones.
Oh yeah, he's already in his 90s.
Yeah, it could be like any
God
day.
Bless that man. Yeah, that's
gonna be.
We were talking about favorite moments in Star Wars of all time ever. Like Empire Strikes Back. You know, he's at the top of the stairs. The Force is with you, young Skywalker, but you are not a Jedi yet. That is my all-time favorite Star Wars moment, period, the end. I agree. Sam from Absolute Sabers was talking about this with his stream either last night or recently with Rob the Rogue Jedi. And I am 100% on board with Sam on this. You know, that to me, from a cinematography standpoint, plot, the way it's written, the way it's acted, the way the lighting cues and comes on, you know, and you just see Vader. You can see, like, he's more of a silhouette than he is a silhouette. You know, it's not 100. I mean, it's like a 99.9% silhouette. But just the way that I mean, it's the ultimate, you know, father meets son. You don't even know he's his dad yet. That happens later. You
The
know,
backlighting in that one.
just the presence that Vader poses. That was the movie that defined Vader as the menacing presence that he is. That movie is what did it. And yeah, he's at the top of the stairs, man, and just the "You are not a Jedi yet," you know. And just the way he said it. And then as he's even fighting, as the fight is progressing, he's like, you have control of your fear. Now release your anger. And like it's just James Earl Jones, man. I'm just like, God, I get chills every time I watch this. It's like so good.
It's just taunting him too, and you look at how Luke at the end of that one is just pouring sweat, and because he's like giving as much as he can, and you could tell Vader's just taunting him.
Yeah, he's just toying with him. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna throw these pieces of stuff at you.
Yeah, I love when they're getting out on the catwalk and Luke pops his shoulder,
Mm-hmm.
and the sound, he's like, oh, like he makes this weird sound, like this gurgling, and then he chops his hand off, and don't worry, that font that I teased the father, like all that, it's all in there. Don't worry, I'm not missing a beat on that one. Yeah, it's so good, man.
Shock and awe. And then he falls down, he's hanging by his feet from that thing, and then they go to pick him up, and it's that whole thing, you're just like, what did I just see? And then he's hanging. Oh, I love that thing, man.
Yeah, and then at the last minute before Luke hops off down the tunnel, he's Vader's like, it is the only way, and then Luke's just like, peace, and Vader just drops his hand like, really? He's like, geez, man, really?
Dun, dun, dun.
I would like to see just a short movie, just for fun. Just I don't know if it's have you ever seen that show Love Hate and Robots on Netflix?
Oh, I heard about that.
Oh shoot, I know what you're talking about.
Right?
Love, Death, and Androids, or
Love, Death, and Robots, or something like that. But it's like an anthology of these stories, right? I'd love to see just a small anthology story that follows Luke's lightsaber from the end of Return of the Jedi.
What happened to it?
Okay, you know what? That's actually one thing that bothered me about the sequels was in the Force Awakens. Maz was like, when Han's like even Han during that scene was like, where the heck did you get that? And Maz was like, oh, that's a good question, but we can't talk about that right now. And then they never bring it up again. I have that. That's one of the boots on Kasif's new Flex font, and I was like, yeah, they never answered that question.
You know what I feel like that moment to me is one of those times where I could imagine the writers and the marketers and the screenplay people are like, well, that's way too complicated to answer. We would have to do all this backstory because you're talking about 30, 40 years of where his freaking hand and the saber went. And we'll just save a bunch of money by omitting where that all happened, right? That to me as a business, if I'm thinking from a business standpoint, I'm like, well, we could explain that, but it would take us 6 hours, right? And then what if we do tell the story and then it's something interesting and then the fans want to know more, but we don't pay that off, right? So they're probably just like, well, whatever.
There's a character that they have right now that they could have basically had just a small snippet of a story, just getting that saber out of Cloud City.
Yeah.
And that would basically be what's the dude from Mandalorian season 1? The guy who used to...
Grief?
He's part of the Ugnaught species.
Grief Karga?
Yes.
Grief Karga?
They were on those creatures were on his species were on
Queel.
Oh, Quill.
I have spoken.
Yeah.
So have him.
He
that's
gives
how
it to Maz or something.
Finds that lightsaber, buys his freedom to get out of there.
Yo.
You know what's so funny is
that gets the saber out of Cloud City for some reason, and then you can kind of take it from there. But
they could tell us anything, and it'd be like, okay, thank you for telling me something. You know, even if we didn't like it per se, at least it's an answer.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's like, to me, that's like bottom of the list thing I would love to have answered, right? Like I mean, I get it. I want an answer too, but not near as much as I want other things answered.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what's kind of cool about Star Wars, is there is so much that Disney really can pull from anything at any time, and it's more content, right? Like, maybe the payoff isn't what we wanted, like the sequels. There's so much about the sequels that could have been done better, and that's fine. The same could be said about the prequels. Everyone likes the prequels now, but they didn't in the beginning, and it wasn't perfect, so, but it's more Star Wars.
They created a
I'm
universe
okay with
that
that.
could function without the Skywalkers. That's the thing.
Oh, dude, yeah, the whole EU. Well, I would say most of the EU is, there's more of it that doesn't revolve around them, especially if you go Old Republic.
Yeah.
I mean, and the Old Republic is fantastic. Oh man, like, it's so, and they could even expand on the Old Republic, even as the material sits now. They could, and I haven't even, so after this Legacy of the Force book series I'm finishing up, my next one is going to be the Thrawn trilogy, and I'm going to read the originals, and then I'm going to read the new version, which is still by Timothy Zahn, but I've been told that the newer iteration of the trilogy has some changes. But I'm going to read the original one first, and then the new one. But oh man, you have the Yuuzhan Vong War, you have the Darkness series. I mean, if you go way back to like Old Republic, or even after Old Republic, I mean, the entire Bane trilogy is just incredible, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, pinnacle Star Wars content. Yeah, Bane is great, really good, and they spend a lot of time on the first book with Bane's entire backstory. Like, that's what I love about the Bane trilogy. From start to finish, you get to see his initial beginning, and they tell everything. Even like he's an adult in his early 20s, I think, when you first are introduced to him, but they talk about him as a kid too, and what he went through. And then by the end of the trilogy, it's like, I mean, it's a full A to Z payoff. It's great. It really is. But anyway, I'll shut up.
Oh man,
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's what we need. We need more Star Wars content, and I'm glad.
audiobooks.
Audiobook, yeah.
You're missing out. And look, I want to tell people something, because they may not understand this, especially if you've never tried audiobooks. Admittedly, I've only done Star Wars audiobooks thus far, so maybe it's different with other books and franchises and stuff. But with the Star Wars audiobooks, it's not just someone reading to you. It's someone who's very skilled and can change voices of characters. And I'm talking, Mark Thompson is in a lot of them, and that dude, his range is inhuman, number one. But beyond the ability of the narrator, they have a full sound production. So when they're talking about the Millennium Falcon or any other spaceships, you hear them. When they're talking about space battles, you're hearing everything. When they're talking about lightsaber battles and force powers, you hear it. It's all in there. It's incredible. It's like I didn't know that going into it originally. And I'm like, it's talking about Bane shooting force lightning, and you hear all of it. Even the fights and the punch and the kicks, like, they talk about hitting this person in the knee and it blowing it out, and you hear this sickening, squishy crunch. Like, you hear all this, and I'm like, oh God, that sounds horrible. But it's a seriously high level production. These audiobooks, highly recommend it, man.
Link, let me ask you actually, for someone who's never done an audiobook from Star Wars, what would you recommend as like first one to get in?
Oh man, it's interesting, right? So the way I went into it, I was like, okay, because all the audiobooks, I mean, they have the ones based on the movies and stuff, or stuff that's considered canon. There's tons of it, but there's way more that's like considered EU or Legends, and now they call it Legends, right? Non-canon, including the Old Republic. So if I was going to tell anybody like a recommendation, I would say, what is something in the EU or something that's considered non-canon, or even if it's a character you want to know more about, what is something you would want to learn about in Star Wars, and then start with that? Because realistically, there's no, I mean, you could follow the timeline and the way they fit into the timeline of Star Wars, but that's not necessary at all. I would literally say, like, look, if Revan is like your favorite and you want to know more, then read the Revan book, which is, I believe, book 1. No, it's book 2 in the 4-book series for Old Republic. I think the first book is Deceived, which is Malgus mostly, and then you have Revan. The book on Revan is top tier. You know, if you want to learn about Bane, go to the Bane trilogy, right? So that's how I would say it. Just whatever is like, whatever you're most interested in, just start with that, because it all fits in. It doesn't matter what order you read them in, you know?
What are you doing that on Audible? Or?
Yes, Audible. Yeah, absolutely. And they have a subscription too, where like, if you're on the subscription, it's pretty cheap. It's 15, or I think it's like 13 or 15 a month. I haven't looked at it in a while. It might be a little more than that, but they'll give you, they have a credit system. So like, the credit system is really cool. So like once a month you get a credit, or sometimes if you are first time sign up, they might give you a couple or something, but a credit is good for 1 book. Now that's really cool, because you're basically getting a book a month for free. But if you ever go to buy more credits, the credits themselves are like 10 or 11 bucks, but that's cool because a ton of books are more expensive than that. So by getting the credits, you sometimes get a really good deal on stuff. But yeah, I never tried Audible until about 3 or 4 months ago. My brother reads 100 books a year or more, some crazy number.
Wow.
And he's like, well, yeah, he's into business finance and leadership and stuff like that. And, you know, that's just his thing. And I was like, well, you know, there's so much on the EU that I really want to read, but my attention span is just non-existent. So like for me to sit down and open a book physical, like I've done it before and I've read a few books old school style, but like when I tried Audible, and I'm basically listening every time I go to work and from work, and anytime I drive more than 10 minutes, dude, I'm on my 10th or 12th book in 4 months, you know? And I'm like, and it's way better than reading it, because instead of using my imagination to come up with the characters' voices and what they're doing, it's played out, and the production value is so high. And it's really no different than watching a movie if you think about it, right? And I find myself getting so immersed in it to the point where I'm like, I'm already at work after a 30-40 minute drive, and I'm like, it just felt like a blip, like it just went by that fast. I'm like, damn, I want to read the next 3 chapters. Like, this is great, you know? And I'm burned through so many already. I'm like, shit, I need to slow down. I'm buying more credits, trying to get, more books. But yeah, they're great.
That's awesome, man. Thanks.
Oh man.
They had one like free thing, like I forgot when that deal was, but it was like get a free book or something.
Yeah, there's almost always some kind of promotion on Audible. I would definitely look it up and see. I'm sure there's probably YouTubers that have promo codes too. Like there's something, there's always some kind of promo going on. I do have an Amazon Kindle account too, because I download the digital comics and I'll buy some of them sometimes, and I'll read through on the Kindle app, which that's a great app if you want to buy the books and read them like you would a normal book. Like the Amazon Kindle app would be the best way to do that. And I have that too, but for reading books, I do the listening. Now for the comics, I'm reading those because pretty pictures, right? Like,
Right.
like it's comics. Like that's how they're intended to be consumed. So, and Vader comics so far, as I'm going through it, just same thing, incredible backstory. Just they're no less well written than the audiobooks, it's just a win-win, man. It really is.
Yeah, I heard those are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to recommend one audiobook, I want to also get into audiobooks too, but the one where I listened to like a snippet of it, someone uploaded like a clip from it on YouTube. But the Darth Plagueis one was really good.
Yeah, actually,
really
that's actually probably the next one I'm going to read before the Thrawn trilogy. I've got that one queued up, but I got to finish the Legacy of the Force. I'm on Legacy of the Force covers a time span from when, like, I guess it's like Jason Solo. It really revolves around him and him turning to the dark side, and so this puts Luke, Leia, Han all in their like 50s, I guess. It's about 30 years or so after Return of the Jedi or something like that. 30 or 35 years, something like that. So it's you got Jaina and Jason Solo. You got all the Luke and all them are in there too, and Wedge Antilles and all this stuff. But it really focuses around Jason and his fall to the dark side and the Skywalker and Solo families. You got Ben Skywalker in there, which is Luke's son. You got Mara Jade, Luke's wife. She's in there, and they're all doing stuff. What I like about this too is it at different points you hear Kyle Katarn get mentioned, and he speaks in a few scenes, and then you got the mention and a little bit of speaking of Corran Horn, because that was like members of Luke's new Jedi Order and Council in that time. And all the missions they go on, all the things they go through, and all the trials and tribulations of having Jason, which is, Han and Leia's son, fall to the dark side. That was Jason Solo, for those that don't know, in the EU is essentially what canon turned Kylo Ren into. Yeah. They just changed it up from the EU. And they did it very differently in the EU as well. Kylo and how that all played out was very different. But like I said, they're great book series, man. Really is.
Yeah. I'm checking out actually Darth Plagueis right now, Max. This thing's like 14 hours.
Yeah, it's long.
Yeah, I saw the paperback was pretty thick, man. That's the audiobook's 14 hours.
Yeah.
Ooh, I think the longest one I've done is about 8. But I piecemeal it. I do it during driving, and I get through it pretty quick.
Nice. All right.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man, once you start, it's like Pringles, man. You're not going to stop. Audiobooks. I'm telling you, look, someone in the chat or one of you guys is going to try it out, and you're going to be like, Link, I hate you. I can't stop. It's a problem. My wife's going to divorce me.
For real.
Yeah, it's looking to do some sound effects. Let's see.
Ooh, Cole said he's on the X-Men comics. Now there you go. Now that's I can respect that. I grew up with the 90s uncanny stuff mostly. I love me some X-Men. Hey, Fourzze has a Leader X font based on Cyclops. Y'all ought to check that out. And he's got the theme. He's got the theme. Come on. Yep.
I'm probably going to get in trouble, but I might as well go ahead and show it.
Uh-oh.
I think she's sleeping, but we'll see.
Nah, don't wait. Don't do it.
I did my duty. Cyclops.
Yeah, why not?
Cyclops.
Your fight is with me. Get down.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, it's really good. It's really good, actually.
Scott.
Do you have that line in there from Logan? The funny one that we laugh at?
You like playing God with mutants' lives. Keep away from my friends!
I love that one because that's Sinister getting hit.
We beg to differ.
Do you have that line? Do you have that line from Logan?
From Logan?
Yeah, the funny one we laugh about.
No, I don't. Not
yeah, he knows.
Tell Cyclops I made him a convertible.
No, that's not the one. It's the one about taking candy from a baby or something.
Oh my god, when he's trolling Gambit, he's like,
It's so funny, dude.
Control them. I remember.
oh, what is he saying? He's like, oh yeah, all he knows how to do is pick pockets and steal candy from babies.
Yeah. All he knows how to do is pickpockets. Logan was a savage, man.
Yep.
Yeah, even in that freaking the cartoon, he was such a punk.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let's see.
Oh, I'm holding out for Kevin Feige and all them to do the X-Men justice, because now look, and here's the hard part, man. The thing that is so upsetting for me is, like, I wish Hugh Jackman could have started out with what Kevin Feige and them are going to do, because I still think that they're going to have a cameo with him, but I just don't see how they could start a brand new X-Men franchise with Hugh Jackman. I don't think they can do it, because he's just too old, and he's been doing it for 17 years. And it's like, he's the OG. He is Wolverine. It's like, how do you replace that? But I think they're really stuck with an incredible dilemma with that.
I wrote a fan thing about how a scene transitioning from old Wolverine to new Wolverine would go, and it basically involved Deadpool.
Oh.
And it's basically Deadpool walks in, he sees the back of this Wolverine, he goes, "It's about time we get to have a thing," and he, like, goes over, spins the guy around, and it's the new guy that they would have play him. Mm-hmm. And he just starts freaking out, going, no, absolutely not, no way.
Yeah,
and then
that would be a funny spoof.
Yo,
what's going on here?
Yeah.
Did all of you guys watch all the way through WandaVision?
Yep.
I haven't watched it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you not lose your mind when Wanda opened the door and there was Sony's Quicksilver, basically?
Oh yeah.
I was like,
they had the Quicksilver from the X-Men.
Wait, you said Sony
series, right?
Is it
so if Link hasn't seen it, we shouldn't spoil it.
No, I don't care. You're talking about Fox.
Fox. Yeah, that's right. Sony's got Spider-Man, or has.
But I already know who shows up, but it's his version. Yeah, it's his version. But so just because I'm never gonna probably watch it, was it just to tease him, or was it a multiverse tease?
No, it wasn't, and there were so many
we were led to believe
theories like that.
So it's not answered.
No, not at all. So
okay.
at the end of that particular episode, when he's revealed, everybody lost their mind. I lost my mind. I'm like, they're gonna do the crossover. It's finally happening. No,
they probably will.
Happen.
They probably use that as like a teaser, a hint, because Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness is coming out and everything's about to get turned on its head. And honestly, I really think that's what they're going to use to start the introduction process of the new X-Men franchise. I really think it's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I don't care what they do, as long as they play that 90s X-Men theme in an instrumental sort of way at the beginning.
Yeah, I hope so.
Jeremy?
He
just, I don't know, something happened.
No. He'll be back.
No.
His phone probably just died.
Oh, man.
Aaron actually played that for my son, because they watch cartoons nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
It was on TV, so I'm like, you know what, let me put on X-Men.
Hey, the original 90s cartoon's on Disney Plus, isn't it?
Yeah.
And what's
he's like, what's that? And I'm like, this? And
So
I turn it on, and the song just goes, and he's like, "Ooh, I like the song." He's like, "But it looks weird." I'm like, "Well, these are old cartoons, man."
This is old, yeah. These are pretty old now.
It's so
I
awesome.
grew up on it, man.
You guys want so that's so awesome about my local comic convention is the creators of the original animated series they actually come to my convention and they do this like midnight panel where they just show episodes from the OG series, and you get to watch
cool.
it with them.
That's
at
cool,
like midnight,
man.
and it's just a whole room full of X-Men fans just watching the OG animated series.
I think there was only like 77 episodes in totality for that show.
Yeah, and you know what?
But
The final season of it was so bad. The animation was so bad. I don't know what studio
they were
got
probably
to
running
draw
out of
it.
budget, and a lot of stuff was rushed. But look, man, what we got, dude, that was a big part of my childhood, man.
Heck yeah.
I mean, it was so good. Just
So Jeremy said he's got internet issues, got to put kiddos to bed, but he good night to everybody from him. So
have a good one, Jeremy.
Yeah, poor guy. I'll tell you what, man, I would not want to deal with what he's going through.
Yeah. We had to some of my family caught COVID around the time of Thanksgiving. That was super rough. That was
I
a
had
couple
it in
weeks.
December.
Yeah, those weeks between Thanksgiving and Christmas, those are rough because it was the first time where, your house is one of the only few places where you don't have to wear a mask, because you're in the comfort of your own home. But when my family started getting it, I had to wear my mask every time I left my room.
Yeah.
It was bad.
We had a scare in my house. So we had Christmas morning, this past Christmas. It was more like the 24th at night. So the 24th is my birthday. So we were up with my wife, etc. Kids were in bed. And she gets a result she had to take a test because she's in the medical field. We both are, actually. And she gets a result, rapid test, positive. And we're like, what? We just put the gifts out, Christmas morning,
Yeah.
And so I went to sleep, we didn't know what to do. So I went to sleep until she got another test, etc. I went to sleep in my older son's room. And then we kind of just split up. And then Christmas Day, until she went and got another test. She did a bunch of other stuff. We didn't see each other. So it was a little, kind of put a dent in that. But at least she got another test or two after that. And although the couple of days were a little bit off, she got another test and everything was negative. So I think it was a false positive, which was weird.
That was a big problem in the beginning.
Nothing.
It was.
Yeah,
It really was.
Those rapid COVID tests aren't very trustworthy in my opinion. Because when I
Not
took my test, I took the one down at CVS where it takes a day or two to process, and then they let you know, hey, you're either positive or negative. And thankfully, I was negative. So,
see, I took an antibody, or I took a COVID blood test, and it came back that I had it and currently have antibodies. Same with the rest of the family. I was like, wow, really? So that kind of blew me away.
And you never had any idea. You never.
Oh no, I knew at the time because both my daughter and I lost taste and smell, and I had some soreness in my legs. So I mean, there was a good span of about a week. I couldn't taste or smell anything. I'm like, well, okay, well I'll sleep and chill. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
I check time to time. Yeah, I just took a blood test and no antibodies. So I mean,
Thank goodness for video games, right?
What video games? Can't get any.
Yeah, I was about to say those.
Back then.
Okay. I have been on Twitter all week. I signed up for a Twitter a Twitter alert. I've been getting the Twitter alerts. I've been going to Best Buy, GameStop, Walmart. Every time this dude tweets, it's out right now. I'm there. I'm clicking in, dude. You can't even get it in the cart. It's still happening. And I've scored a Series X. I've scored a Series.
For analog.
Did great for analog, even though I was in there at 2 seconds before the official launch. Did great with Series S. Did great with Series X. But PS5, man, it just can't be done. I just cannot score PS5 at all. The bots are still everywhere, and the scalpers have just got closets full.
I hate scalpers.
They have these, in my area here, Target. Here, Target's going on sale. I don't know, 5 a.m. or something. It's they're gone. They go in and they're gone. The workers bought them. They're gone.
And they shouldn't be allowed. They shouldn't be allowed. As a matter of fact, my Target told me at this point, don't even bother coming to the store, because what they do is you have to buy it online, and Target and Best Buy are doing this, and this kind of pisses me off. you have to buy it online, wait for them to ship it to your store, and pick it up curbside. They have to bring it to you curbside. I'm like, really, guys? Come on. So I don't know, man. It's ridiculous. There's barely anything out for the system right now. The only reason I'm getting the disc version is because I got a bunch of PS4 games that I'm still playing. So I mean, I don't know, dude.
I've been talking to Fourzze about this. We talk pretty often, and especially with gaming stuff. And I was talking to him, and I saw this article where it's being reported that Sony is in development of a newer version of the PS5. Basically, the PS5 is built on a 7-nanometer process, much like the Series X is, because they're both AMD chipset. Well, apparently the report is that Sony is working on a 6-nanometer process, more not because they're trying to innovate quickly or anything like that. It's more of a supply and demand problem, a supply problem. So, with all the world shortage, they're looking to create a new model or whatever to help with the supply issues, move away from different chipsets and stuff. And now I find this personally interesting because if you look at PS4, it was about a year and some change where the PS4 Pro came out. So I think even if you took away this world shortage, they probably would have done a PS5 Pro. And I believe there were reports that Sony was already talking about it before COVID even hit. And it's kind of interesting, the timing. You know, we have a supply issue anyway, and they probably was going to do a 5 Pro anyway. So I'm at this point, there's only one game personally that I'm gonna buy this system for, and that's Horizon Forbidden West, because Horizon Zero Dawn is like an amazing game. It's actually one of my top 5 favorite games of all time since I played it. And so at this point, since that game's not even due till the end of this year, maybe next year anyway, I'm like, well, we'll just see what this Sony comes up with for a replacement or a update or maybe a PS5 Pro. So I'll probably just wait and then get whatever that is. And hopefully between now and then, they will have sorted out this logistics issue. You know, that's if I had my cake and could eat it too, right? So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, there's all these shortages and little.
It's going to continue for the next year and some change across the board, and that's just what happens, man. It's like traffic, you know. One person could stop for what is it, 0.5 of a second, and then continue on, but that ripple effect lasts for like the next 30 minutes, you know, in traffic. True. So grander scale, obviously here, but that's, I mean, the whole world's, factories of everything electronics shut down for like what, two months roughly straight?
2, yeah,
like completely for the whole world, so it's like, that's the fact that we're this far along and catching up is pretty impressive.
Still, but what would also help? It'll never happen, but would really help is that if the scalpers just went ahead and did the nice thing and just decided to break even.
Well, yeah, I mean,
just
never. Yeah, you're right. That's never going to happen.
Clean the closet out.
And look, all this is opportunistic. This is all birthed. This is all birthed from this shortage issue. We wouldn't have. I mean, scalpers have always been around, but the only reason they're to this magnitude is because they're opportunists. And hey, that's just, it is what it is, man.
Everybody's trying to make a buck somehow.
Yeah. It's funny because, everyone talks about all the issues with Xbox and PlayStation, but the only one that really doesn't seem to get a lot of attention is Nintendo. But I don't know. I think Nintendo has their fair share of problems too. I mean, I have all 3. I have a Switch. I have an Xbox. We're trying to get the PS5, but obviously just like, keyword being trying, because we tried to get one for Christmas. Like they did like a Best Buy sale where like they dropped a ton at like 7 p.m. like our time, but like it was like mid-9.
And it's gone.
Yeah, like at like
it's gone.
Like no less than like 5 seconds. Like as soon as we click refresh, they're like, "Oh, we're sold out," and it's like, "How? I just refreshed my page."
I can tell you, man. Whatever analog did, whatever analog did to thwart off the bots, it worked, and other retailers and e-tailers need to follow suit. It put us in a queue for about 15, 20 minutes, but
longer than that.
But it worked. Well, for you. No, but here's the thing. Like me and you, we were in that queue together, right? And we were kind of complaining like, oh man, I knew it. But then like once it was done and we got what we got and we saw how it played out from A to Z, we were like, no, actually, everything they did worked because it was successful. When we were in the queue, it said, don't refresh this, you'll lose your place. About 15, 20 minutes, there it was. And, you know, and there's probably a lot more underneath the surface that we don't know what they did to help this out. But on the surface level, you know, when you check out or something and they're like, please select all the pictures that have a traffic light. And it's usually a 9-block grid. Well, what Analog did is it was about 16 blocks. And then you had to do that one. And then you did another one of those. So you did that twice on top of this really weird thing where you had to keep mashing the add to cart to actually get it to show up in the cart. It was really weird. But like I said, looking at the process A to Z, whatever they did, it worked. And I really hope that all these retailers start figuring that out. Wow. That is the Analog Super NT. The FPGA Super Nintendo essentially is what it is. For those that don't know, an FPGA is a field programmable gate array. And what it means is when you think about emulators and Raspberry Pi and stuff like that, that's called software emulation. FPGA is hardware emulation. So there's a circuit board in there, a motherboard, that is literally programmed to think it is a Super Nintendo.
Wow.
But with 1080p graphics off of an original cartridge. You can take an original Super Nintendo cartridge, plug it in that thing, and play it on your TV in 1080p with no lag because that motherboard basically thinks it is a Super Nintendo. So that's a whole rabbit hole that if you ever want to go down in the retro gaming world, it's incredible. It's a great way for enthusiasts to experience their original cartridges, but without messing up their old console, but also having that 1080p experience that you never would have had on the old 4x3. They're really, Analog's an incredible company. Very hard to get items, very rare, but very worth it. Very cool.
That's awesome.
Right there. So also in the retro gaming world, since he's showing it off, there's a company called Retro Circuits, and what they do is they do reproductions, but they'll add transparent shells and LED lights. So when you plug that cartridge into the console, it lights up, it just looks really cool. So, the retro gaming scene these days has really exploded. There's a lot of cool stuff for those that are interested.
That's honestly the biggest issue I have with retro gaming right now because, as a kid, I grew up with the GameCube and the PlayStation 2 and all these different consoles. And one of my biggest issues right now, this is more of an issue with Nintendo. Xbox doesn't have this issue because they are putting all the old 360 and all the original Xbox games on these newer Xboxes, like the One and the Series X. To my understanding, I think the Series X can play 360 games.
It can go all the way back.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
But
some OG original Xbox games are on the marketplace to be bought, actually. So yeah. Now it's not the entire library of all those systems, but there's a nice handful. And if you have the discs, they'll play. So in other words, if it's not on the market digitally, or you don't own it digitally from Xbox Live Arcade days or something, but if you have the disc, you can play it. Right. So it's full backwards compatibility.
And it's a great start, but one of my issues is and this is more a Nintendo issue, is some of my favorite games were on the Nintendo 64 and GameCube. Oh, yeah. And it has been over 20 years, and Nintendo, they have the money, they have the resources, they can do it, but they have not did anything to emulate all those old games onto Nintendo Online servers that they've just started recently. And one of my issues is, or the eShop, and one of my issues is you have to go, for example, if I want to go back and play one of my favorite childhood games, Super Smash Bros. Melee, or like Super Mario Sunshine. Okay, this is before 3D All Stars, so 3D All Stars kind of changed that. But even then, that was like a limited game. They only had it out from like September to like March, and that's it. And even at that, it's not like a one-to-one emulation of the original GameCube game, because I still have the original Super Mario Sunshine on GameCube, and that's what we as fans want. We want like to play our old games on the Nintendo Switch without having to go back and play the older consoles, which there's nothing wrong with. But the thing about technology is it ages, and my GameCube has gotten to the point where like Melee will play for like 18 to like 30 minutes, and then it will be like the disc can't be read. And it's not because the disc is all scratched up. It's because the technology of the GameCube uses special, it's the same thing they use in TV remotes. It's like infrared technology to read the disc, and that technology breaks down over time. And when it's broken, it's like, well, you're out of luck. You need to buy a new GameCube.
There is a solution for that. So analog is for people who want to play their original cartridges. They don't make a Nintendo 64 yet. I believe in the future they will. And they haven't messed with anything like PS1 and above yet, as far as disc-based stuff. Not yet. Maybe they will one day. I don't know. But if you're looking, if you're not worried about the physical media of retro stuff, the best solution that's still FPGA, which is once again like hardware emulation, is something called a MiSTer, and it's kind of spelled weird. It's still MISTER, but like the IS is capitalized and some weird stuff. But it's called MiSTer. I think a fully built one is about $499, $500. But essentially, and it's probably about, this big, it's not huge. It's relatively sized, but like it's essentially just a motherboard and all this stuff, and it's open source. So it can be, and there's a whole community backing it and everything. You can literally go on GitHub and get the whole thing for it. And basically the MiSTer is like the all-in-one. The MiSTer can play anything from Atari all the way through, current, like probably PS3 and stuff. From what I think PS3, but when I say everything, I mean everything. That thing will play, like, if people know the arcade scene, like the arcade cabinets of old had their own special motherboards, and those things will go on auction sometimes, right? The MiSTer can basically hardware FPGA style emulate anything perfectly, 100%. Even the exact, like if you had this exact arcade cabinet that had its exact quirks and glitches and things that game only did on that cabinet, the MiSTer does it exact. So the MiSTer project is, if you're truly looking for that, I want to have the same experience as PS2 or the Neo Geo Pocket or whatever it is, like MiSTer is where it's at. The only thing you're not going to get is the ability to play that physical cartridge or disc, but it's okay because it's still FPGA, it's still playing it. FPGA basically makes it so you're playing it the way the game played on the original hardware. It's hardware emulation, not software emulation.
Yeah, and I'm going to be taking advantage of that in the coming month, because Analog is actually going to put out their Sega, which is called the Mega SG.
Oh, I'm getting one of those.
And yeah, same here. And what's really nice about, for Sega, like I was not a big Sega person, because back then, if you were a kid in the late 80s or you were in the early 90s, you were either Team Sega or you were Team Nintendo, just like
Sega
it used to be. You were
don't.
Yeah, it's like you used to be. It was either you had PlayStation or you had Xbox. Like back then, it was Sega or Nintendo. Sega put out the Sega CD, and honestly, in terms of Sega, those were my greatest memories. Was Sega CD, Sonic CD, Lunar 2, and Popful Mail. And what's nice about the Mega SG is that not only does it come with an attachment that if you have a Sega CD, you can plug into it, there is a cartridge that you can get called the EverDrive, and it will put Sega CD games on that drive, and it will, you plug the cartridge right into the Mega SG, and it will play without skipping a beat. And what's nice is that on Sega CD, if you recall, the CD had to load cutscenes because that's what Sega CD was there for. I mean, that was basically the birth of the cutscene, especially with what was it, that music video game that Sega CD had, that with Crisscross. You can design your music video, or the very, very controversial Night Trap.
Yeah.
So there with Mega SG and the EverDrive, there are no loading times. There's no load time. It's instant.
And we are, to be clear, we're talking about two different technologies, right? Analog is a company that makes retro consoles via FPGA style. And then you have EverDrive cartridges that are made by Crix and a couple other companies. Crix is the main one, and there's a couple places you can get them. But they make EverDrives for all the retro systems: NES, Super NES, Famicom, Super Famicom, N64, Genesis. But the Genesis one, what Fourzze was saying is so cool about it is they have one that's like a combo, so you can load Genesis, Master System, and Sega CD games on the cartridge and play it that way. That's a unique feature of that particular EverDrive, which is really cool.
Yeah,
and there was only like 10 games that even anybody cared about on Sega CD. But if you're a collector and now here's the cool thing about EverDrives. We talk about FPGA being hardware emulation, and EverDrive is kind of the same thing, just for the cartridge itself, right? So an EverDrive is a cartridge that goes in whatever the respective system is and has an SD card. So you load all the ROMs on the SD card and put it in the EverDrive. But once you put the EverDrive cartridge in the system and you tell it what game to load, it turns that cartridge into that game. And now that cartridge is acting like it's the real cartridge, and it's playing it as if it's the real cartridge. So that's not software emulation. It is, and when you look on their site, the EverDrive will say it has the Cyclone FPGA. And that's what tells the EverDrive to make a ROM file and turn that cartridge into that game. So you're playing it the same way you would an original, with no lag and no, BS. It's the real experience. The added benefit of an analog system is that it takes that and puts it to 1080p, which is really actually pretty incredible on those old sprites. It's really cool.
And I'll tell you what, and to bring all this back to Star Wars.
Yeah, we derailed hard. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay, because one of the most challenging things was Super Star Wars, Super Empire Strikes Back, and Super Return of the Jedi. You will talk about the mind-numbingly frustrating games. I actually beat all three of those games, and it was not
after
easy.
the first 10 minutes, I quit. First 10 minutes, I quit.
I was 14 years old when those things came out. I was 14.
I was too busy playing Super Mario RPG, bro, and Zelda.
Same here. Oh my God, Super Mario RPG got so much attention from me, dude. But yeah,
I played that
Star
game to
Wars
completion at least 25 times.
And it's nuts, man. Like if you get a chance, if you can emulate it, if you invest in analog, or you just have an opportunity to go back, or even watch a YouTube video of it, the Super Trilogy, bro. There was so much detail in those games. They take you inside the Sandcrawler. They made an entire level out of the Sandcrawler. They made an entire level out of the Hoth Rebel base, Cloud City, the freaking Death Star. And these levels would go on forever. And it's like, dude, it's nuts. Cheeto's Born, and I tried to play those games on my retro.
I gave up too much for me. I couldn't do it.
I'll
just have to watch it on YouTube or something.
Yeah, they're hard. They're hard games. Like, a lot of people nowadays are like, "Oh man, Ninja Gaiden and Demon Souls and this stuff is so difficult." Like, man, shut up. You don't know what difficult is.
No, Demon Souls. Not Demon Souls. Demon's Crest is a fun game for SNES. Dude, Super Nintendo. See, I grew up. I had the regular, the original NES. When we got one, I was probably like 3 or 4. It was like that was the beginning for me. And then we had an old Atari. We got it from a garage sale. So I know what that's all about too. But the real impact was Super Nintendo for me. That was the most impact era for me was Super Nintendo. I mean, I'll never forget it. I got one on Christmas in like '96, and like we got NBA Jam, and I think that was the only game I started with was NBA Jam. Me and my dad played it, and I will never forget it because the dude just starts doing flips and then dunks it, right? And this is brand new. We'd never seen it before, right? It just came out. And my dad starts cracking up, laughing, like hysterically in tears, laughing at this because he's flipping, and it's just obviously the most unrealistic thing,
And the Bill Clinton code.
And then we played it. We played it for like 3 hours straight, me and Dad, And then after that, once I got A Link to the Past, that was it. I mean, my freaking name that I chose as an alias in a Star Wars hobby is freaking Link for a reason. So, it's like
one of his fonts is Song of Storms.
That didn't, and funny enough, that only came out a couple of years ago. I actually went the whole time in the hobby without ever making one, even though people told me for years I should. I might have to revisit something with that one day, but I'm going to wait for Breath of the Wild 2 because I haven't played the first one because I don't have a Switch. I'm waiting on this next one, the Super Switch or whatever it's going to be.
I hope they call it Super Switch. I really do. I do not want them to name it Switch Pro. It's.
I don't care. I don't care about that. Because here's why. Because I want them to drop Breath of the Wild 2. That way I can buy the first one, play that one through, and then the second one right after. That's what I want to do.
My son's playing Age of Calamity right now, and there's a
I don't care for games like that. I don't care for games like that, right? Like Halo did that with Halo Wars. It was it's a different game than Calamity. All right, I get that. It's a different game mechanically, but when they do offshoot games of a franchise that I really like, I have a hard time. I guess except Star Wars, but that's probably because Star Wars started off as movies, not games, right? Halo started off as games. Zelda started off as games. So when you take a game franchise that has always been a game and nothing else, and it follows a particular formula, and then you get this offshoot version that they're doing something completely out of genre, it's for me personally, I have a hard time holding on, but I get it. If people like it, it's cool. I'm not bashing anybody.
Yeah. Haven, do you got some retro gaming experience? Like, what do you are you into older games or stuff that's out currently that you kind of wish, you could kind of learn the history of and you go back and play? So, like maybe some old Street Fighter or something like that?
Yeah, no, I definitely, I never really got into Zelda, but I want to check that out. Always want to check that out. I've been wanting to get actually a Switch actually for my older son, and we're probably gonna do that now. I want to kind of experience some of those games. But I started back in just Super Mario on the regular Nintendo, and then like Mario 64 on Nintendo 64, and like all those games, Street Fighter. I mean, there's so many like
Hadouken.
Oh man. Right now, I mean, we just have the PS4 and the Xbox One, but like,
check your mic, dude. You're popping in and out.
Am I?
Yeah, a little bit.
Weird.
That's kind of weird.
I have the PS4 and the Xbox One, so that's as far as I go.
There's nothing wrong with that.
That's about it.
You guys. I'm sorry.
Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Turbos, Super Street Fighter 2. I wasted so many hours in front of that.
I definitely had those and played those, but Mortal Kombat was...
Yeah.
Now, like, as far as the fighting game genre, Mortal Kombat and Killer Instinct for me. Not Killer Instinct, not as much, but it's always been a classic in the fighting game realm, and into this day, I still very much enjoy the latest iterations of it. But Mortal Kombat I've been a hardcore Mortal Kombat fan since it was created. Just super awesome. It's a mature content game, so I'm not going to recommend that to just anybody. If you're into fighting games and you've played it, then but I'm not going to sit here and recommend, if you've never played fighting games before, definitely don't start with that. It's mature content. But, that was, but Killer Instinct's a little more PG-13 for sure. So I think Killer Instinct is fine. There's not any blood or gore the way Mortal Kombat does, but Street Fighter, yes, I agree. Street Fighter, interestingly, when we would go to the arcades as a kid, and there was more Street Fighter arcade games, usually. Like they had MK. I remember they had MK, but I remember playing more Street Fighter in the arcade settings. And Street Fighter 2 Turbo was one of the main ones that was always around, and we were stacking quarters, waiting on our turn and stuff. Those were the days, man.
Super Nintendo spoiled me because once I was playing Street Fighter on Super Nintendo, I couldn't put those tilt tokens. I don't know if you guys had tilt, but we had tilt.
I had a couple of places. One was tilt.
So we didn't use quarters. We actually had to swap our quarters for tilt tokens. Yeah. And they wanted 2 tokens, basically 50 cents to play Street Fighter. I'm like, dude, I could play this at home. So I would walk over to either Simpsons, the 6-player X-Men game, or freaking
Turtles, man,
or Ninja Turtles.
The 4-player Ninja Turtles, man.
The 4-player Ninja Turtles.
The Turtles 2, the arcade. Oh man, classic.
And or the Turtles in Time game, and like that's what I would spend all my time playing because those games were so much more fun. It was the same thing with NBA Jam. There was an arcade version of NBA Jam, and I just couldn't do it. Super. I had to do it on Super. I even went
games
to
in the arcade got me, dude. This is the craziest thing. And to this day, I've got them on Steam too. I got them in my collection on Steam. But the games to this day, and I still love them, is there's a word for the genre. It's the vertical scrolling shooters like Raiden and like 1942, the ones where it's like the top down and you're just this thing shooting bullets just all over the screen, right? Like I wasted so many quarters, dude. And I was that kid who was like, no, mom, come on. Like, come on. I just need one more quarter, And then, eventually it's like, come on. I'm like, oh, no, I got to play.
If you're
those games, man.
You'd love Cuphead.
Actually, you know what? I appreciate what it is. And when it came out,
Cuphead.
When it first came out,
beat it 3 times.
When it first came out, awesome. I was really like on the edge, right? And then I made this like, classic mistake that I tend to make sometimes when I'm not 100% sold. I'll get on Twitch and I'll watch my favorite streamers play it. And then I watched my favorite streamer play it and beat it. And I'm like, well, I don't need to buy it now. And I don't, those kinds of games I do love. They hold a very special place in my heart for real. But like, I don't play them very often. I really don't. Those are like my guilty pleasure type of game when I just don't need to think and it's just raw hand-eye coordination exercise, and I just need to turn my brain off except for like fine motor skills. And that sounds very contradictory, but I'll literally turn on Steam. I'll get Raiden Fighters Jet, which is just incredible because you have like 20 ships to choose from and they all have different weapons and abilities. And I just go, just bullet spray the whole, like everything's going, oh, I got the power up. Oh, there's a tank. Oh, and then literally 30 seconds in I get wasted and I'm like, oh crap, I got to hit continue. It's like back in the day, that's what I do. I put the quarter in and you keep dying just over and over. You're like, no, those games are genius because they would make people spend so much money, Classic.
One of my I'm sorry.
Go ahead, dude.
One of my favorite genres growing up in the arcade, me and my brother, we loved this genre. They don't make any as much nowadays. You kind of get them nowadays, but they aren't as good as the old ones. But two of our favorites, there's a genre. Are you guys familiar with rail shooters?
That's where they're like horizontal moving. Oh no, rail shooter is what is it? Panzer Dragoon. That's a rail shooter.
Well, I don't know. I don't think I've played Panzer Dragoon yet, but the two that come to my
Star
mind.
Fox is a rail shooter.
Yeah, Star Fox. That's a good one. I
Star
love
Fox
Star
is
Fox.
a rail shooter. That's the definition of a rail shooter. That and Panzer Dragoon are two of the most classic examples. And they remade Panzer Dragoon recently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw that. Rail shooters are pretty interesting.
See all this talk of the retro stuff, and it's I mean, I've already had ideas, but you know, a lot of these things that come from my childhood, you know, you can basically count on them becoming fonts for me at some point. You know, all these things. You know,
stupid list.
Your list. I mean, there's some stuff that I've been rebirthing from the '90s. Like X-Men was a project for me. One of our fellow artists on Repulse beat me to it, but you know, I always wanted to do a Mega Man X4 themed font from zero, because there's like I have memories in high school playing through that, and the fact that I actually have a Saber now is like, why have I not built a zero font yet? And I need to put a zero font together. You know, I just, all these things that I hold so near and dear, I just want to get them into a Saber and bring them to life. Like I already know, like, look, most of the people in our community who make the investment in fonts, they're early 20s, early 30s. Like they're not guys like me who are going to appreciate something like, you know, freaking, like, I'm not expecting to sell 100 copies of this Scott Pilgrim thing coming out. I'm not expecting to sell 100 copies of like Mega Man X0. You know, that's a me project, because
same
that's
thing
what
for
my heart.
Back to the Future, you know, Back in Time for me.
Yeah,
Back to the
like
Future, like that's not for the masses. It's really not.
I mean, it's there if they want to check it out. It's like, you know, you know, look, Fourzze can do something besides Star Wars. That's great.
I'm the opposite. That's funny. Fourzze and I are really kind of opposites in a way, where Fourzze has a ton of canon content or Star Wars character related content, and I'm over here like in left field with, you know, the Predator and the Terminator and stuff. It's like, what, you know, stuff that makes no sense at all. Right. The Witcher, you know, the Witcher is not even a freaking lightsaber; it's a sword.
I still need to get that.
I'm like, you know, and for me, it's got to have a saber involved. That's why I was gonna, you know, I'm gonna update my Gundam font, my Universal Century Saber, because that was requested.
That's why I did sword art. You know, that the person that commissioned me, and I didn't even know. Like, I'm not real into anime, and like the guy that commissioned me for sword art online, I'm in my head, I'm thinking, oh, it's an anime. All right, cool. You know. I had no idea until I looked at it that they had lightsabers. They just call them photon swords.
Yeah.
And just like, you know, it actually made me think of Gundam in that way, because I remember Gundam from way back when I was a kid, and I knew they had energy swords, you know, and I was just like, man, you know, I was so, it immediately triggered my interest. I was like, wow, this is actually okay. All right. Yeah. Now you're speaking my language.
Like Haven and Max, and like those of you who are still hanging with us in the comments section, we're not going to be on too much longer, but I definitely want to ask this question so I can engage you guys. You know, if is there something here? I'll start with you, Haven. Is there something from your past that has anything to do with either swords or sorcery, sabers, that's not Star Wars, that you would like to see come to be a font, like something that kind of just really you fondly look back on and you're like, dang, if that were in a lightsaber, that'd be awesome. Like, what would you like to see one of us bring to life?
Yeah. I have been, like, you know, lately with the whole Snyder cut that came out with like Justice League and all that, I started looking again at like Superman and all that. I'm a lifelong Superman fan. When I see like the lasers, like if you ever like watch those scenes where like, you know, he gets the the laser vision or heat vision, and like I started thinking like because the sound fonts lately and stuff, and I'm like, wait, that would be like a cool kind of like sound font or something along those lines. Where like it's kind of reminded me like of the Cyclops. I didn't know of it at the time, but so it's something like that, or something with like I don't know, like I think back to like something like I don't know, like something like Highlander or something like
Oh, I never thought of that.
yeah, like with like a sword, yeah.
I wonder how we would do that. But I mean,
Yeah,
look, I made The Witcher, so if that can be done, you could do Highlander very easily.
Max, what would you like to see come to life from something from your past, something or even something currently?
Anything, any genre,
You know what's been on my mind? I mean, it's technically not a lightsaber, but it's a sword. But I think it would be really cool to do would be an outer universe spot because I think the music tracks would be incredible. I mean, personally for me, I mean, most of you guys would probably be like, "What? This is just some 2000s. This is like lame techno 2000s." But looking back, I think it still holds up for me. But I think a blade font would be really cool.
You're not the first person to bring that up. I had somebody. I have been asked. Someone has asked to commission me for that font, and I never said no, but we never finalized doing it. And I know exactly where you're coming from. I think it's actually on my list of like stuff that maybe one day I'll make or something because that guy brought that up to me. But I'm definitely not in a hurry to do it. I have way too much other stuff going on for the rest of this year, pretty much. So if somebody else wants to tackle that, by all means. But I could. I wouldn't have a problem making something like that personally. I love
maybe for my next commission. Who knows? Because if you gotta include the nightclub theme as one of the music.
Oh,
tracks.
That was like the first thing. That was the first thing. Like that's what everybody remembers. And and then of course Wesley Snipes saying some MFers are always trying to ice skate uphill. Like
Yeah, for real.
Wesley Snipes was OG. I'm actually really excited to see the new Blade.
Me too.
The actor. They showed a picture of the actor in costume. Like on a poster image, and I was like, okay, all right, I'm interested. Let's go. I want to see this. I hope it's got adult language though, because the original Blade, it wasn't PG-13, man. And that's the one thing I'm worried about with it.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, they got to be rated R, especially with that actor. That same actor, I forget his name, but he was in Luke Cage, and there was no censorship there. That was hardcore. Like, yeah, it was. And that season of Luke Cage was pretty good. So
they went pretty ham on that show. I have to admit.
They put in the work on that show. The latter seasons weren't great, but the first season was pretty good.
4 of those Marvel Netflix shows, freaking Daredevil.
Daredevil
out of all of them,
that was
I loved Jessica Jones out of all of them the most. Jessica Jones had me from start to finish. It was so good.
Season 1 of that and Luke Cage were really good, but Daredevil is in a league of its own. None of the other shows come close to what Daredevil did all the way through season 1 through season 3. Freaking incredible, dude. Like I hope that they bring back the actors. At least Charlie Cox and the guy that plays Fisk. I never can remember his damn name, but he's obviously extremely famous. Donofrio, I forget how you say his name, but Vincent
D'Onofrio.
D'Onofrio, yeah, dude, yes. Like they have to have him and Charlie Cox, which is Matthew Murdock, Daredevil. They have to have those guys come back. It just would not work. And same thing with Punisher, by the way. Okay, Daredevil season 2, which introduced the Punisher, which is the actor's name is John Bernthal. Season 2 of Daredevil's Punisher was better than season 1 of Punisher with him, but not because season 1 of Punisher with him was bad. It was just written very differently, and it takes place in a different time. Season 1 of Punisher is before Daredevil season 2 in timeline. Both are excellent. John Bernthal is incredible as the Punisher. And so if Marvel absorbs them, which I think they already have, I think they got the rights back from Netflix. They have to have those same 3 actors: Vincent, Charlie Cox, and John Bernthal. If they do not do that, I'm done. I'm writing them off. Like Marvel.
To my understanding, they are bringing back Charlie Cox as Daredevil for the new Spider-Man movie.
I didn't see anything confirmed, but if that's true, I would love you to tag me in that, because I need that in my life for my well-being. I need it. Do it. Like
it'd be such a huge opportunity to waste too, because you have all these great actors, and
they know.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be Kylo right now. You know what you have to do. You know. Yeah.
I could take whatever I want.
Yeah, no, that's them looking at all our wallets. I can do whatever I want. We'll just wave Charlie Cox in front of everybody as Daredevil. Okay.
So let's see. Cole says that the Blade in the comics is British. That would be so weird to have Blade with a British accent.
I couldn't do it. I mean, the only media I've ever heard him speak, it was American. So yeah, I mean, I don't know.
So fresh from the comments section, Cheetos here is about Apex. Zero is mentioning Gundam, which Brandon, you've got. I'm working on mine. Blade. Zero mentioned Zoids. Now I remember Zoids, but I gotta tell you, that's something right there. And I already answered him here. I said, if for something as nobody talks about it, nobody asked for it, like you'd have to commission something like that. It would be, seriously, the only reason why I'm even doing Scott Pilgrim is because there is a following for it. Our boy Kyle Lusignan, he cosplays it. Like I can get a group of people together who I know are all about Scott Pilgrim, and some of them aren't even Saber owners, and they'll buy it. And I'm putting this thing together, and Aaron Yohannan, he's helping me, and that's going to be a completely different live stream. Where the 3 of us are going to get on there. We're going to show the font off and talk Scott Pilgrim, and Scott Pilgrim is one of those weird cult following sort of super nerdy video game esque sort of movies. It's it's like if Superbad had video games in it and less cursing. That's basically what it is. And but again, it's niche. It's not a lot of people are going to pick it up, but I don't really care because it's Scott freaking Pilgrim, man. I mean, again, it goes back to I'm going to make what my heart's in, and right now my heart's in Scott Pilgrim, and I'll make a big deal out of it because that's just a lot of fun. And then I'll get back to Star Wars because I'm going to put out the prequel villain, which y'all can figure out what that is. But moving forward, like I know what I want to do. Like right now I'm in out of universe, then I'll get back in universe, then I might go expanded universe, then I'll get back in universe. Like I got to do what feels right now.
I'm about to take a very large step in universe.
We're waiting.
Yes,
we're waiting.
Me too.
So finishing remarks. Max and Haven, I know you guys are our resident font reviewers. You guys got a little. Because we got some folks who've joined up late, but do you guys have some reviews coming out pretty soon? People can subscribe to your channel. Haven, let's start with you. Like, tell the folks where they can find you on Instagram. Tell them where they can find you on YouTube. What you've got coming up, whose fonts you're going to be reviewing. Just kind of let folks know.
Yep, you can find me on YouTube at Star Wars Haven, just like it's written in the channel here, and on Instagram, Star Wars Haven 77. So I actually opened up a TikTok account recently.
Nice.
Have not a lot of content on there. It's freshly new. Same thing, Star Wars Haven 77, but I'm going to try to do some outdoor, swinging maybe videos. Something new I want to try. But yeah, some things I have coming up. Project Stardust, which is Death Star fun I got from Kyberphonic. Classic Villain, Juggernaut's Wrath from U-Force.
Yay.
Definitely going to review some of those kind of fonts. And I also have the graphics I just got. I want to send it out to an installer, so I'm going to start getting that going. Some Saber unboxings, things like that. So.
And do you have some tech you're going to be using to enhance your demos you want to let folks know about?
Oh yes. I just got the lavalier mic from Amazon. Lando Sabers recommended that. It's from Power Device. I got it on Amazon. It just came
really
in today.
interested to see how that works for you.
Yeah, I got to see how it's going to go. Haven't checked it out yet. It just came in the mail today. So
that's going to be a major thing, honestly, for people out there, because again, we are few. Myself, K Sniff and Kyber Daddy and Blue Force, we are the only people in the whole community who utilize a Direct Connect setup. And holy crap, dude, it is such an investment, and it's a chore, and but you know what? I brought it upon myself. I just wanted to do it to kind of step up the audio quality. But I've heard Lando's setup where he uses the lav mic, and it really does sound good. His setup is really nice. So I'm interested in hearing how you do it. And I'm hoping with what you're doing, you kind of make it viral, and people like you guys who are starting out in the community, they want to do reviews, they want to brag on their font makers. They can look, it is so much easier to invest $40 and get creative with your speaker than it is to invest $500 to $600 and get all of this crap set up.
I'm excited to see how everything works and stuff. I wouldn't mind going bigger on the equipment side of things, but I really just want to see how it all plays out. I'm more interested in simplicity. But we'll see. I really could meet somewhere in the middle, depending on how it all works and the quality and stuff, and the latency too. If there is any. If it's direct, then there shouldn't be. But I'll be interested to see it, man. That's exciting. It's
going to be real cool, and it's gonna. I mean, you've already got such a faithful following as it is, and once people see this quality jump, dude, they're gonna. I mean, you're going to be one of the main guys for reviews. And I even reposted you the other day, and I was like, as much as you guys support your font makers, be sure to support your font reviewers, because these are the guys who are going to tell you, yes, go buy it, or no, don't.
This is trash. Don't buy this one.
For real. Max, what do you got? What do you got coming up?
So I'm going to take a quick detour and review Spiral first. Quick movie review, and then for Saber font reviews, it's definitely going to be Negotiator Complete Edition first, because I promised that I would be doing a review of it.
Appreciate it.
And then after, I definitely want to do a review of your Juggernaut's Wrath, because that was one of the fonts I got on May 4th. I also want to... There's one that's been sitting on the back burner that I've been wanting to do for a while, but the only reason why I didn't do it was because I didn't get the context. I had bought the font back when it was initially up on the old Repulse Custom Sound site, but I didn't review it because I didn't see the movie at the time, but I have seen it, so now I get the context and actually get the scenes now, and I get the quotes. And it's Link. It's your Gateway font, your Stargate font.
Sweet. Oh yeah, and that's actually been discontinued since then.
Yes,
put it back up.
This is so people have seen since I started my own site. I look at things from a business perspective. I don't want something sitting on the shelf collecting dust, right? If something's not selling, like almost at all, then I just, I want to put something new in its place. Unfortunately, Stargate, Gateway is one of those. But just like a lot of my other stuff, I didn't go into that expecting it to be a fan favorite or a big seller, right? Interestingly, it sold a lot less than a lot of my other stuff, and it almost really, once it trickled off, that was it. I mean, it just didn't perform at all, and that's fine, right? That's going to happen, and if you want to stay relevant, you got to keep pumping out new stuff every so often, and I don't want my site littered with like 50 things that nobody wants, right? So that's kind of the idea behind that, but there are people that really, really enjoy it. I had somebody reach out to me about a week ago being like, hey, were you the one that made Gateway? And because I don't see it on your site. And we talked back and forth, and I ended up selling it to him for $8 because I was like, well, yeah, I still got it. I'll sell it to you. But it's technically discontinued. But if I have somebody that really wants it that bad, I'll sell it to you. That goes for any of my old fonts. Well, as far as since I came out with my own site, that's where the line starts. And actually, I'm pretty sure I was the first font maker to create his own website for fonts, specifically outside of Saberfont. Saberfont was there. There were other independent font makers who were selling from themselves individually, but I was the first one to create a website for fonts that was in opposition to Saberfont.
Yes, you were.
And literally, not even a week later, a bunch of others follow suit, which is, I'm all for that, because I believe very strongly in people taking control of their work. I have people that are on the site with me at Repulse Collectibles, but they are very free to do what they will with their content. They have no restrictions. So that's very important to me. As an artist, you have to have those liberties, So, but anyway, yeah, Gateway. I love Stargate. I grew up with it. It's a great movie. It's a classic sci-fi film. It just, a lot of people these days don't even know what it is, or they might remember the TV show, if anything. And even then, it's an out of universe, so it's not very transferable. So you just never know. I don't know how I got so lucky with Transform. Transformers, it's probably because of their popularity, but still translating into Saber just makes no sense. It's like, but it exploded, right? That's what I tell people. If you're getting into font making, don't ever be scared of anything, because the thing you least expect is the thing that's going to explode and do well. And I'm living proof of that. So if you are excited about making fonts and you're excited about an idea of what you think might sound cool in a Saber, just do it, because somebody is going to buy it, and it might be way more than you expect. Transform, to this day, that is the font people remember me for. And I'm like, thanks. Great. I'm glad that's different. But, I've always kind of leaned more out of universe than in. I'm going to change that here pretty soon, but nonetheless, right? If you're an artist and you're interested in something, just make it. Somebody's going to buy it. Somebody's going to want it. Go for it. Do it.
Max, Cole wants to know, and I forgot to ask. My apologies. So where can folks find you on Instagram and Facebook and on YouTube?
It's the exact same name that I'm using on stream, Mark Hoovman. It's a ridiculous story. I'm not gonna say how I got the name, so it's pretty ridiculous, and you'd be
Save
like,
it
"Wow!"
for the next stream, because I want to hear it.
Yeah, where our names came from. Mine's a dumb long story too, but go ahead.
Yeah. But you can find me there. Just youtube.com/Mark Hoovman, and same with the Insta. My name's the same everywhere. Insta, YouTube, Twitter. So
yeah, definitely. And guys, whoever's still here, and if you're on Instagram and whatnot, look, give everybody on the screen right here a like and a follow on Instagram and on Facebook if you're still on Facebook. I know TikTok is starting to kind of gain momentum in Saberland. I'm still on the fence. I just got on Instagram myself. I don't know if I want to play the TikTok game just yet.
I just recently downloaded it, but only because my job, we have to start using it.
Yeah.
For work purposes, because, like, real quick story, and then I'll shut up about it. Like, I work for a company that is owned by, so you have the parent company, and they own or invest in a bunch of other companies. So we have a bunch of companies under my roof, and or we are all under one roof, I guess. This other company that works with us did a post on TikTok, and it over last weekend got like 12 million views. Wow. It just went viral for some reason, right? And now they're like, all right, look, with what we do for work, we really needed to get into this, because, it's just ridiculous not to, right? Maybe it'll do something, maybe it won't, but it never will if you don't try it. And I'm a little more old school. So TikTok to me is, I'm kind of like boomer mentality when it comes to certain social media stuff. it depends on what it is, but TikTok. And you know what's so funny is like me and my coworkers start looking at it and kind of getting into it for the first time. Number one, we couldn't stop, and number two, we were laughing so hard we were crying. There was just all this random stuff. It was like, wow, this is actually, I'm still learning it, and I'm the same way as Fourzze. You know, it's something that I'm like kind of apprehensive, but I'm like, from a business perspective, when you look at it, it's like, yeah, if you're really trying to expand your business, it's kind of a bad idea to not do it. You know, you're really missing out on a huge audience. And so even me, I'm going to have to start learning that and getting into it, because there's such opportunity there.
Yeah.
You know?
And of course you got to be able to link people back to where you want them to go. So there's always that. But yeah, guys, if you will, please follow, give a like and a sub to both Max and to Star Wars Haven, because as much as guys like Link and myself try to provide service to the community and the work that we do, we are nothing without folks in the community who are able to showcase what we do. They are our outside eyes, our ears, our mouths. They basically tell you this is good, or this is great, or this is eh. So please give them a like and a follow and support what it is they do. I will say that those who really put the time and the effort into making good videos, they more or less get my fonts for free, because setting cameras up, lighting, all that stuff, it takes laborious time to sit in front of a camera and talk to people. Takes willpower and courage, and there are a lot of people who don't have a lot of willpower to put themselves out there, don't have a lot of courage. And a lot of these guys, they're so in love with their fonts, they may not say much, but golly, dude, they get out there and they light their sabers up and they let you know, hey, I love this font, I love this guy or girl or whoever's making this font, please go support them. So our reviewers are just as important as us being on there mess around with our own fonts. So give them a follow. Also go to Repulse Collectibles on Facebook. Follow Repulse Collectibles on Instagram. You can join the Repulse Collectibles group on Facebook to be part of the conversation there. And you will find myself, FourzzeFX, on Instagram and Facebook. And you can subscribe to my channel right here, The Fourzze Effect. You can also find me on Fridays, joining with Rob the Rogue Jedi on the High Council. And from Max, Star Wars Haven, Link, and the leader of this mess of merry men, that would be me, we want to wish you all the very best of weekends. May the Fourzze be with you, and we will see you on the next live stream. Peace.
Hey, guys.